Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The July 7th, 2010 meeting of the City Council is called to order. This meeting has been properly noticed and posted in compliance with the open meeting law. These proceedings are being presented live on KCLV Cable Channel 2 and are closed captioned for our hearing impaired viewers. The council meeting, as well as all other KCLV programming, can be viewed on the city's website at www.kclv.tv. The proceedings will be rebroadcast on KCLV Channel 2 and the web the Wednesday of the meeting at 8 p.m. and also on Friday at 4 a.m., Saturday at 7 p.m., Sunday at 7 a.m., and the following Monday at 1 p.m. As we always do, we make an announcement that this building has a state-of-the-art fire detection and suppression sprinkler system, so should alarms activate, please leave through the exits. Our marshal will tell you when it's safe to re-enter. There's no reason to believe that that would ever take place, but we do this in a cautionary manner. Before we proceed with the agenda, would everyone please rise for the invocation given this morning by Pastor Linda Kelly, Mountain View Presbyterian Church, and then we're going to have a moment of silence for the passing of College of Southern Nevada President Fred Mariansky, who recently passed away, and then we'll say the pledge. So please remain standing throughout all of those items.
Let us join our hearts in prayer. God of great opportunities and endless challenges, as we look around us this day, we marvel at the city in which we live, the depth of its diversity, and yet its constant consistency. We give thanks for our community, its people, and its leaders, for our blessings and our privileges. We give thanks for our friends and neighbors who live and work in this great city and make this such a special place. We give thanks for secretaries and custodians, for healthcare workers and child care providers, for security guards and sanitation personnel, for police officers and firefighters, for prison guards and parole officers, for baggage handlers and department store clerks, for emergency room doctors and triage nurses, for the many people who each day provide services and work for the good of the people who live here. We give thanks for all those who care for people, for those whose life is confined to a bed and a window, whose bedroom is a cardboard box and a dirty blanket, who go to bed hungry and cry themselves to sleep, who spend time in the classroom of waiting, whose dreams are as varied and unique as the number of people here. This day we ask a blessing upon our city officials as they make decisions that affect the well-being of every resident, guest, and visitor to our city. May they have vision to discern the essence of life that elevates humanity to its highest purpose, and may they act in confidence in deciding the future of this place we call home. Amen.
Amen. Moment of silence, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen. This is the ceremonial portion of our agenda, and I made a mistake, and I admit my mistakes. President Mariansky was the president of Nevada State College. I misspoke myself, and I'm sorry about that. For our first ceremonial item this morning, Councilman Barlow is going to recognize the Citizen of the Month. Councilman.
Thank you, Mayor. I have the distinct honor of introducing the City of Las Vegas Citizen of the Month. This is a gentleman that I have known now for well over 25 years. I can't believe it. He has been a true pillar in the community. I have selected who I call my friend Mario because of his tremendous citizenship amongst the residents of the city of Las Vegas. Mario has operated his store, which is Mario's West Side Market, inside of West Las Vegas, for many years. I've known and observed Mario's spirit over many years, and I couldn't be happier about declaring Mario as a City of Las Vegas Citizen of the Month for July 2010. For 6 years, the Baseball Little League of West Las Vegas has had the pleasure of having Mario's support 100%. He provides supplies, uniforms, gloves, and any outstanding fees for any youth who wants to learn the sport of baseball. Mario has recently given a $1,000 scholarship to the Charles I. West Prep for an essay contest, which challenged them to write about how, in fact, they would improve Mario's market. Mario is also a large supporter of the Harry Levy Gardens senior apartment complex, and they are here also supporting him. The residents of this complex are definitely 100% supportive of Mario because of his support for them, and he makes sure that they have all of the access needs that they need in order to live healthy and nutritional lives. And in particular, he sponsors their holiday dinners. One of the most admirable acts of Mario's is his willing to give. Should a homeless person come into his store, he makes sure that they have a meal as well. His passion is youth, his ever-popular store operation, and the West Las Vegas community is most definitely something that Mario holds very near and dear to his heart because he runs his store there for many, many years right out of the community. Mario, I thank you. And for that, I would like to ask that your uncle, the former mayor, please come forward.
Former Mayor of Lansing, Michigan.
Former mayor of Lansing, Michigan.
Who told me earlier today that he was a strong mayor.
And also, I would like for Reverend Smith to come forward also, and I would like for you all to say a few words on behalf of the City of Las Vegas Citizen of the Month before I bring Mario forward. Mayor?
Well, thank you very much for inviting us here today, especially my nephew, my wife's nephew. And I spent 25 years at public office, 22 of them on city council, representing the 4th Ward. Lansing has got about 130,000 people, residents. And I had one ward, the 4th Ward, the 3rd Ward. And of course, then I served as mayor for 3 years, and I'm a former mayor for the city of Lansing. Strong mayor.
The only mayor who has not been indicted in Michigan.
Okay. Reverend Smith, share with us your experience and your relationship with Mario.
Mario is a friend of mine, but most of all, he's a friend of the community. Mario deals with a lot of youth, and the check word that Mario instilled in them is, if you lose faith, you lose all. So he promotes them to have faith that they can do anything that they want to do if they just apply themselves and keep the faith. Mario, each year around between Christmas and New Year's, Christmas and Thanksgiving, Mario will deliver to our church about $250 to $500 worth of coupons so that any member of the community that need help, we would be able to help them through the contributions from Mario. Mario is a great man and a great leader in the community, and we look forward to him continuing on for many, many years. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please help me welcome to the podium Mr. Mario Berlanga, Jr., the City of Las Vegas Citizen of the Month. You're so welcome. Mario, on behalf of the City of Las Vegas, Mayor and Council, we would like to present you with this beautiful plaque. And also, we would like for you to say a few words. But before you say a few words, I would like for your kids to come forward. So, all the youth, come on. Everyone that come on up. Stand with them. because, Mayor, this is what Mario's about. He's about the youth, and he gives back in such a great way. And I want to make sure that the community has an opportunity to actually see all of the great work that he does in the community and all of the support that he provides to our young people as well. So, Mario, thank you for everything that you do, man.
Thank you, Councilman Bartle. My philosophy is, as a business owner, you have to give back to the community and where you do business. I mean, without the community, I would be nobody. I thank my customers. I thank the community that I'm in, and I wouldn't be anyplace else. Thank you.
Thank you, Mario. And for the entire month of July, this sign with your name attached to it, Mario, will be hung on 4th Street, right here at Stewart and 4th. And so letting all the residents know that for the month of July, that you are our citizen of the month. And so you can go by there and have all your friends and family take pictures of it and put it up on MySpace and Twitter and Facebook and all that good stuff. So I just wanted to just congratulate you and say thank you from the bottom of my heart on behalf of all the citizens of the city of Las Vegas for being a good business person and more so than anything, being just a great citizen to the state of Nevada. Thank you, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, well, you can see all the praises that have been sung for Mario, and you can imagine that's the employee of the month. Now we're going to celebrate the employee of the year. And I'd like to invite our city manager, Betsy Fretwell, to join us up here. And I'm pleased to announce that, well, I don't know, I think we're going to obey this to next meeting. I'm pleased to announce that the 2009-2010 Employee of the Month is Demetrius Black. Demetrius? Demetrius is a customer service representative and has been with the city since 2003, and we often talk about serving the community and providing the highest levels of customer service, but Demetrius really embodies those traits. She always comes to work with a great attitude, and that's the truth, and you can really see in her demeanor and in her smile that she loves helping people and working for the city of Las Vegas. I saw her last week over at the Chamber of Commerce Awards and had that same smile on her face, same enthusiasm, doesn't change, and she's really helped us as far as our Human Resources Department is concerned, and she's assisted more than 13,000 customers last year who may have otherwise experienced delays or frustration. Not only does she work in a high-volume, fast-paced environment, but she also reviews employment applications, job postings, and job hotline updates. She's also one of the first people new employees meet as she helps with city employees' processing and badge issuance. Human Resource Management often gets feedback from citizens and employees that Demetrius helped to make their experience with the city a most positive one. She always meets the needs of each customer in a sincere, respectful, and courteous manner, and on behalf of the entire City Council, I want to tell you that she was selected from among 12 employees of the month over the past year, each one who has given valuable service to the city of Las Vegas, who has helped make this city the greatest city in the world. And to have this honor as being the Employee of the Year is very, very special. So I'd like to, at this time, give you, without breaking it, the Employee of the Year Outstanding City Employee Award, signed by myself and all the members of the council. And the Mayor Pro Tem will be entrusted with, this is really nice. How come I don't have one of these? Oh, how come I'm not the Employee of the Year? Oh, this is outrageous. Demetrius, I'm very upset over this. Okay, thank you. I knew she would. See, that's why she's the best. She is the greatest. But isn't that beautiful? With your name on it, an Employee of the Year, very, very special. But even more important than that is Demetrius has received a $500 check from the City of Las Vegas.
And with that, she'll be able to take us all over to the Artisan to celebrate her award with libations. So I'd like to, at this time, congratulate you once again, and to ask Betsy to say a few words. Betsy?
Thank you, Mayor. You know, it's always difficult to follow the mayor because he says all the right things, but all you have to do is look at this woman smile. And that's what greets every person that walks through our doors in this building. And she does it with, you know, true passion for her job. And everybody knows it's genuine. And that's exactly what we want everybody to embody here. All of our employees are our ambassadors to this community of what the city can do. And this woman does it every day, day in and day out. Now, we all know that this year has been a very tough year for the city of Las Vegas. And Demetrius and I had lunch a couple of weeks ago. We had a good time. But let me tell you, she has done some extraordinary things for people who are probably facing one of the most difficult times in their lives. And she's done it with grace and style. And I have to share the quote that she shared with me at lunch, because she says she has learned to salsa when people need to salsa. She's learned to slow dance when they need slow dancing. She meets people where they are and where they need for her to be, and that is not an easy task. So she's done it in such a professional way that people are leaving this organization who have committed their life to this organization and are giving her hugs on the way out because of the way she was able to help them. That's the kind of employee that I'm proud we have here. I'm terribly sorry that we're having to go through any of that. But without people like Demetrius, it could be a whole lot worse. And I think that Demetrius teaches us a lot. She teaches us that we need to adapt to what our employees need and what our community needs. I can't wait to have lunch with her again to celebrate this new award, because I know I have a lot more to learn from this lady, and I'm proud to have her on our team. So thank you, Demetrius.
I said to myself, salsa. Yes. And boogie, the hustle. Gotta do the hustle. I just wanna, wow, thank you. I've been saying all week, don't cry or wait until you finish, then start crying, but it's just an honor. But I want to give thanks to the Holy Trinity, my family, my HR family, and my City of Las Vegas family. And this is just an honor and a privilege to accept the award of Employee of the Year. And then I just need each of you to know that this is not about me. This is about us. And this award is not just my award. It's our award. And I love every last one of you. And I thank you very much.
Ready. Now, Councilman Ross is going to recognize the efforts of two government entities that work to keep citizens safe and provide parks and recreational opportunities. Councilman Ross.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everybody. And Demetrius, you have me about crying there, girl. That's a hard act to follow right there. Well, this morning, I've got a quiz for you first. Where can you improve your health without going to the doctor? Where can children learn and grow without necessarily going to summer school? Where can you get a great workout without joining a gym? You can do all of that right here in the city of Las Vegas by participating in leisure services programs or heading out to one of our beautiful parks. Since 1985, the National Recreation and Park Association has designated the month of July as Park and Recreation Month. Recreation facilities and parks across the country annually use July to celebrate the kickoff of summer programming, as well as recognize the efforts that make Las Vegas's parks and recreation stand out from all the rest of the parks in the country. Over the past 61 years, the Departments of Leisure Services and Field Operations have brought memories, experiences, and enjoyment to the lives of our residents. Harry S. Truman once said, "The right of children to play, to sing, and to dance. The right of youth to sport for sport's sake. The right of men and women to use leisure in the pursuit of happiness in their own way are basic to our American heritage." I'd like right now to ask to come up our Director of Leisure Services, Billy Bastian, and our Director of Field Operations, Larry Hogsness, as well as the Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission Chairman, Malcolm White. Would all three of you come up here, please? As we observe Recreation and Parks Month, we need to recognize the vital contributions of employees and volunteers throughout the city of Las Vegas and beyond who assist public parks and recreation facilities. In an effort to promote healthy lifestyles, these dedicated supporters keep public parks clean and safe for our visitors. They organize youth and adults sports teams, provide educational programming on health, nutrition, first aid, and gardening, and advocate for more open space and better trails. They keep our aging population young and fit with many activities, specifically for senior citizens and our active adults. They also provide a vast array of programs for our developmental and physically disabled population, and so much more. Remember, spending the day at the park is not only great for your wallet, it's great for your health. So folks, get outside, pack a picnic, play on a playground, compete in a sport, and enjoy the sunshine. We all need to give thanks to Billy for her efforts and her department and their staff, and Larry's staff as well. And right now I'd like Malcolm to say a few words for us.
Thank you very much. I want to thank each and every employee of the Parks and Leisure Department for their efforts and their service. I also want to thank my fellow commissioners for volunteering their time to work with such a great staff. Billy and her staff are awesome. They do such a good job. I just wanted to touch on Beyond the Neon. That's one of the missions, or one of the themes of Parks and Leisure Service. And what it is it's beyond the lights. It's beyond the work that we do every single day. It's what we do to enhance our lives, the quality of life. The city of Las Vegas has numerous parks. And our first park in 1905 was Woodlawn Cemetery. And we've come a long way from that in creating golf courses and creating trails. And the city council does a wonderful job in allocating money and finding funds for parks and other facilities in their areas. And I want to appreciate them, because without them, without their vision as youth, as some of the youth sit here and in the parks that are provided by the city, you sit and you dream and you wonder what our community could look like in the future. You are our future. And you sit there and you expand on what we have now, and you recreate it. Last year I said that the Latin root of recreation is recreation. And that's what it is. It still stands that when we go to a park and when we go to our community centers, we're trying to recreate ourselves to make everything better for our community. And I want to say I appreciate you, Councilman Reese, for sponsoring this award.
Malcolm, thank you very much. We don't do this alone. You help us, as well as city staff, but it's all those great volunteers that help in the parks, and it's the vision of this council, the mayor and this council, to continue the efforts we've done. Malcolm, stay right there. Don't go away. The mayor and the City Council of Las Vegas proudly proclaim the month of July 2010 as Park and Recreation Month in the City of Las Vegas, and ask all our citizens to acknowledge this day with appropriate activities in your neighborhood park or recreation facility, meaning go out to the park and play. Malcolm, that's for you. Thank you very much, Malcolm. Appreciate it. And thank you guys for letting me do that, because I like to play in the park as well. Before I begin the next introduction or presentation, I'd like Gail Frazier, the General Manager of the Regional Flood Control District, to join me up here at the podium. Those of us who've lived here in Southern Nevada for a long time are familiar that when the summer comes, so do the floods come. And when the dark clouds start to gather around the valley, I know where my mind is thinking, and a lot of us don't have to think about that stuff anymore because of the great efforts of the Regional Flood Control District. The official flash flood season is July through September and can be a very dangerous time in this valley. The Regional Flood Control District works hard to educate our residents, old and new, about the dangers of flash floods through our billboard and commercial campaigns. The Flood Control District has worked steadily over the past several years to provide infrastructure to help dispel those floodwaters. Currently, in southern Nevada, we have 83 detention basins and over 550 miles of channels and underground storm drains. Over the next 20 to 30 years, we will be adding another 40 detention basins and an additional 250 miles of conveyance. But flooding still occurs, and more than half, this is important, more than half of all flood-related deaths are results of people attempting to drive through flooded areas. So we need to keep reminding people what to do and what not to do if they're confronted with floodwaters. And if you look around the city today, you'll see those billboards up already reminding us that it's flood season. And I'm going to turn the time over to Gail to talk about some more good stuff.
Thank you, Councilman. Flash flood season is on us right now. It's July through September. We can have this moisture come up from the south, and with little or no warning, with the heat in the southern Nevada, thunderstorms will just explode. We saw that in 2003 in the Northwest. We had 3 inches of rain in 90 minutes. We saw it in 99. We saw it again in 2007. And at some point, we'll see it again. So you have to make smart decisions out there. 2 things we do. We keep floods away from people. That's our capital improvement program that the councilman talked about. Currently, $150 million worth of projects, 18 projects under construction throughout southern Nevada. That's important. Those are projects that will be here for generations to come to protect life and property, fulfill our mission, but more importantly in this economic time, putting people to work. And that's about 2,000 jobs. So we're very proud of doing both those. But we could not do that without the support of the City Council, their Public Works Department, who are out there implementing these projects throughout this area. The other thing we do is keep people away from floods, and that's what this is all about. And that's our billboard that are out there and making smart decisions. Don't drive through flooded areas. And at this time, too, we have a billboard contest. So you've seen our vanity plates out there. You have up until July 18th, 19th to get on our website, regionalflood.org, and enter your entry into that contest, and we will be picking winners in both English and Spanish. So thank you.
What do they win? Yeah, what do they win if they get picked?
They get their billboard up, they get a T-shirt, and they get a plaque.
You can't beat that, a T-shirt and a plaque. And a picture with the mayor, is that right? You know, the mayor and I both sit on the Regional Flood Control District, and every time Gail talks about these 18 projects and all the money we're putting into the infrastructure for flood control purposes, we have to always continuously remind him that we are our own economic stimulus package, 2,000 jobs, and that's critical in today's economic environment. Now, of course, we couldn't do this without a proclamation proclaiming the month of July, Flash Flood Awareness Month. And Gail, what will you tell people when they're headed towards a flooded intersection? What are you going to tell them?
Turn around, don't drown.
Turn around, don't drown. Thank you very much, Gail.
Okay. For our final item, we have a very special Las Vegan in the audience who has worked very hard to make our community a better place and is being recognized for her efforts. I'd like to invite Nikki Birdie to join us at the podium with her husband, please, and her 2 children. I had the privilege of meeting Nikki and finding out firsthand what she's done. She co-founded the Goody Two Shoes Foundation, a nonprofit organization that provides new shoes, socks, and other essentials to disadvantaged children in Las Vegas. The foundation began in 2003 with Nikki and her husband Tony providing new shoes to 225 children. Goody Two Shoes has grown from there. Today they use a 48-foot mobile shoe store on wheels to bring shoes to needy children throughout the entire community. And in the first 4 months of this year, they've already helped more than 2,000 children. I want to recognize Nikki for all of her good work in the community, and someone else has also taken notice as to how she gets things done. And this is as cool as it gets. Nikki has been named one of Major League Baseball and People Magazine All-Stars Among Us. The awards recognize those who are making extraordinary contributions for the betterment of their community. And she's going to be honored as one of 30 All-Stars Among Us at this year's Major League Baseball All-Star Game in Anaheim.
Yay.
She'll be going out on the field representing Las Vegas prior to the game and will be part of a very special video tribute. And in honor of everything that she's done, what I'd like to do for you is to present you a key to the city. We don't do this for people who don't deserve it. Believe me, you certainly deserve this, and I want you to think very fondly of the city of Las Vegas. When you look at it, this is with our heart that we give this to you. I see the family over at the fire station across the street when they give out the shoes to these kids, and the kids just light up like, what do you, want a key to the city too? Huh? What's your name?
Easton.
Okay. What's your name?
Brennan.
Terrific. You guys going to go with your mom to the baseball game?
No.
Why? What happened? I don't know. You see how big this guy is? He used to play for the San Diego Chargers, so we got everybody represented up here. But I think it's great that you're going to be representing the city on such a wonderful project. And if you could, please ask somebody like Derek Jeter, who's going to win the pennant, and I'll get a bet down. Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is such an honor for myself personally, but for our organization, the Goody Two Shoes Foundation. We've worked really hard the last couple years to increase the number of children we reach, and this year we are trying to reach 10,000 children right here in Clark County with new shoes and socks. And while I stand up here and represent our organization, I would be remiss if I didn't recognize my husband, for without his support, I wouldn't be able to donate my time full-time to our organization. But without the community's support, corporations and individuals and volunteers who help us do what we do, we wouldn't be able to reach as many children as we do either. So there are so many people that play into this. I accept this key to the city on behalf of everyone who participates with Goody Two Shoes, supports Goody Two Shoes, and the children who benefit from Goody Two Shoes. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for this recognition.
Great seeing you. Nice seeing you. Good seeing you, young man. Good. Nice seeing you, okay? Yes. You certainly may.
I do a lot of work with nonprofit organizations, those particularly helping children, and I will tell you that when I met her and saw what she was starting to do, I was totally amazed at how fast she did it. I have never, in the probably hundreds of groups with which I've worked, seen another group achieve so much so quickly. And just from all of us who work with children a lot, thank you very much.
And thank you. And Nikki just told me, she whispered in my ear, she's going to bring us back a Major League Baseball team. All right, go for it.
Thank you.
That's it. Okay, sure. Okay, that ends our ceremonial. We'll begin our meeting. We'll take a 2-minute recess. There are a couple photos that we want taken with some of our visitors, with Mario and some of our award winners. It'd be very nice to meet you. Come on up, please. Good. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. How you doing?
Mario. You can just stand right here in the middle and take 2 shots and be through. Hey, Mario. Picture around.
You want together? Okay, good seeing you. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay, thank you. Nikki, are they going to have you on TV?
Yes. Yes, during the All-Star game.
That's wonderful.
you're 6'6", you never get to be in the front row.
That's all right. There's a reason. Yeah, that's a good thing, though. That's a good thing. Okay, that's good. Okay, thank you. I know you're going to do a great job for us. That's great.
Of course.
Good, I know. Not even close.
But now we're starting to
How did I look at you?
I gotta tell you, I'm the world's worst
distribute shoes.
So
So now we're just
bit.
There you go.
So that's what I do after fundraising. I watch basketball. Corporations grants.
You know, you should go reading in the audience.
Yes.
No, that's true.
I've never had anybody before. Really Very good, very good. Yeah, he loves to read. He reads about Instagram. He has the best one.
Is he happy?
He plays flag football and my youngest plays baseball.
Terrific. Where do you play flag football? Football Ranch?
No, we live in a
Oh, okay.
So there's a league up there.
Okay, because I have a grandson who plays flag football over at Lake. He's 10, but not this big.
We play with Thurman White on Monday night.
Oh, okay.
There's a Tarkanian middle school that's at 7.
Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you, thank you.
Roger, how'd that trial go?
Well, good. It's still ongoing, actually. But, yeah, got to go up there and take care of it.
Did you want to introduce your interns? Okay, fine. This is item number 10. Any items from the morning session that the council, staff, and/or the applicant wish to be stricken or held in abeyance to a future meeting may be brought forward and acted upon at this time. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have item number 49 as a report regarding a Veterans Memorial at Hunter Circle Park, Maryland Parkway, and Charleston Boulevard. Staff asked that be held in advance to the July 21st, 2010 meeting. And the reason for this, Mayor, is we had some mock-ups of what the four proposals are, and they got injured during some of the transportation of them, so we need to get them repaired a little bit, and then we're going to show them to the neighbors and stuff first before we have the report on it.
Well, that's great. The Mayor Pro Tem and myself were over at the Fifth Street School, and we saw those mock-ups, and they're phenomenal. I mean, there were four of them that were presented to us, and each one is better than the next, and it's going to be a real tribute to our community that we'll have a Veterans Park that people from all over will be coming into our neighborhoods and actually see how Las Vegas feels about those who've served our country. So I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Your
All right. Any other items?
Hearing none, I'll make a motion to bring this item forward for reaction, please.
Thank you. Let's vote on that, please.
Anytime we find. It's just going to be held in advance until the 21st.
Okay. All right, are all the votes cast? If they are, please post. Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 11 is approval of the final minutes by reference to the regular City Council meeting of June 2nd, 2010. Is there a motion, please?
Yes, Your Honor. No additions or deletion. Make a motion for approval of the minutes, please.
Thank you. Let's vote on that, please. Post. Motion carries. Thank you. Items 12 through 48 are on the consent agenda. They're considered to be routine. They're recommended for approval by the departments and may be enacted in one motion. Do any members of the council wish to have any of the items brought forward?
Yes, Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
Agenda item 14, as I see the applicants here in the audience.
All right, 14. Anyone else?
Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like items 23, 24, and 30, please.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to have 40 and 41 brought forward, please.
Very good.
40 and 41.
40 and 41, any others?
Mayor?
Yes,
Yes, item 21.
item 21, okay. Any others? All right, fine. With that in mind, do you have a motion?
Yes, Your Honor, I make a motion to approve items 12 through 48 with exceptions of 14, 23, 24, and 30, as well as 21, 40, and 41.
Okay,
With all conditions, please.
thank you. Let's vote on that, please. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. So I'll call them in order of the number. Item 14 is approval of a special event alcoholic beverage license for House of Vino, LLC, located at 8053 North Durango Drive, Suite 160, for the dates of July 10th, August 7th, 21st, and September 4th, 2010. And this is a special event, beer, wine, tasting, and the responsible person in charge is Matt Richardella, and this is in Ward 6. Yes, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I asked for this item to be pulled forward because, this would normally be on the consent agenda, but I've got to point out House of Vino. These young men who are standing before us today have done such a great job with this store out there in the Northwest. Every time I drive by there, and I have to ask for your forgiveness, I haven't stopped in and haven't had a sandwich yet. But you guys are doing a phenomenal job out there, and I wanted to give you this opportunity to tell folks at home what's going on.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank the council. Thank the mayor. We're just asking for your guys' approval to do some wine tasting now. We want to do some events on Saturdays. We can have some samples of wines for our customers, have some samples of the food that we're offering, good Italian meats, cheeses, sandwiches, salads, and kind of bring also the community together and something we can all share on a Saturday night. So we'd love to do that and abide by all the rules, of course.
Right, and business is good, I understand.
Very good.
Which is great to hear. A new business in our community, that's wonderful that you're succeeding, and you should be congratulated for it. You're doing a good job.
I want to thank you guys for all your support. You've all been great, and it's really working out for us, so we're excited.
That's wonderful.
More importantly than us, Mayor, is the fact that the neighborhoods have really adopted you guys, and they're your best clients. I mean, those are your customers coming in there, and I hear great reviews about what you guys are doing. So I just wanted to have an opportunity, Mayor, to shine for a moment.
That's a good thing.
And with that, I would move for approval of agenda item 14, subject to all conditions.
Very good. Let's vote, please.
And good luck, guys.
Thank you.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Yes. Let's do it. Motion carries, and good luck.
Thank you.
Right, nice seeing you. Item 21 is approval of award of modification number 2 to bid number 07.1730.05-LED Martin Luther King Boulevard improvements, Outlet Drive to Cary Avenue, and the construction conflicts and contingency reserve set by Finance and Business Services, Department of Public Works. The award is recommended to Wells Cargo, Inc. in the amount of $1,375,440.04, Road and Flood Capital Projects Fund, and this is in Ward 5. Councilman?
Yes, I just wanted to be updated on this item as far as explaining what this is about.
Jorge Cervantes, Department of Public Works. Councilman, this is a settlement agreement with a contractor to pay for additional costs on the oil charges. This project is extended longer than originally anticipated. Usually when they bid on a price, they tie in the oil cost for asphalt at that time. When projects get extended, there's a clause in the contract that allows them to come in for adjustments based on increase in oil cost. So that's to do with that. It has to do with quantities that have increased over the project duration. We've added some additional scope to the project to do some more additional utility work, relocation, and some other work. So it's just to finish off the additional costs for those additional improvements that were part of the project.
Okay. All right, I appreciate that.
I'd like to ask a question also. If you have money set aside for the bid, then where does this additional amount come from that's over the original bid?
This project is funded by the Regional Transportation Commission. When we awarded the bid, the original estimate for the project was in around range about $50 million. The bid came in at about $40 million. So there was a reserve that was originally allocated at the beginning of the project by the Regional Transportation Commission. So as money comes to the Regional Transportation Commission, we go back to the Regional Transportation Board to get authorization for the additional funding that came out of the original program amount. So it's part of the original program amount from the Regional Transportation Commission.
So really, basically, they had a cushion there of about 50,000 over the original, what they expected. Oh, 10,000, I'm sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah.
10 million, Councilwoman.
10 million. Okay,
Million.
10 million. What's a few things in his border? 10 million. But in any case, what happened was the bid came in lower than anticipated. The money was set aside for what was anticipated, and now that the costs have changed it a little with time and increased costs of certain things you need, and also in an amount of what you need, you've had to go into that amount that RTC had set aside, but it was RTC funding.
That is correct.
And we're taking it from there because probably they kept it there just in case it went over the bid.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
Also, Jorge, what is the projected wrap-up of Martin Luther King, if you can elaborate on that?
Certainly, Councilman. They're doing the final pavement. If you drive out, you can see up to about Vegas, maybe just north of Vegas. They've got the final layer of pavement down. They're working on the final layer of pavement north of that and finishing up some of the landscaping. We're looking at wrapping the entire project up probably around the end of July, mid-July, end of July, it'll be wrapped up. I believe we're trying to work with the office to schedule an event out there for the grand opening, but we should have substantial completion early July, final completion out of there, probably late July, early August, as they do what we call the punch list items. They go down there and fix whatever the inspection finds. This needs to be corrected. This wasn't improper. And so they go through about a 30-day punch list period where they clean all these items that we inspect and see any correction on there.
Right. And I would like to conclude with this will be the most attractive Martin Luther King in the nation. And so I really want to thank your department and the city of Las Vegas as a whole for making Martin Luther King a very beautiful thoroughfare. So I'm looking forward to the grand reopening of this very beautiful street.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Vera, one other thing, the project stops at Alta, right?
It stops really where the Costco is, where the gas pumps at Costco are. It goes from about the Costco is just north of Alta, kind of where Discovery Drive is. From there north all the way up to Cary, where the project was about 2.5 miles.
So it really doesn't begin at Alta, it begins at Costco?
That's correct, Councilwoman, but we're working on doing some additional improvements down to Alta. As you know, the Metro substation is being constructed there, and so as part of their improvement, we're working with them to finish off that section. And so we've got a gap between where the Metro substation ends and where the Costco is, and we've got an engineering firm right now doing the design to fill in that gap. So probably around the end of this year, we'll be coming in with another project to finish off all the way down to Alta.
Will they be looking at maybe going from Alta to Charleston eventually?
Eventually, Councilwoman, that's part of Project Neon that NDOT is working on that includes the MLK Industrial Connector. And so that'll carry it from Alta all the way down to Charleston and then over I-15 and connecting to Martin Luther King.
Thank you very much.
Councilor Barlow, do you have a motion, please?
Yes, Mayor, I do have a motion, and my motion will be for approval, subject to all conditions.
Thank you. Let's vote on that, please. Opposed? Me? Well, the reason we're having a problem is the yay, the abstain, and the nay doesn't come up, and we're guessing as to where we're supposed to be putting our finger. And this is hard enough for me because I have no idea what I'm doing here, and I have no idea how to get that little arrow moving. But if you could please put it up, I promise you I'll punch the right button. No good. Oh, I voted. Okay, that's what I wanted to do. All right, motion carries. Very good. Well, I'm challenged when it comes to this. I just learned, by the way, I bought my wife an iPad at the suggestion of our city manager, Ms. Fretwell, and I helped set it up, and I found out what a cursor was. As somebody who doesn't know what they're doing and says some dirty words, that's what a cursor is, and that's what I was. But it was an amazing experience, actually. But this morning I asked her whether she could get me the odds on the Germany versus Spain soccer match, and she failed miserably. So, Ms. Fretwell, if you'd excuse yourself, call my wife and help her. Thank you. Okay, we're going to call 23, 24, and 30 altogether. 23 is approval of award of modification number 4 to contract number 060044-SB, Architect and Associated Services for the Post Office Courthouse Rehabilitation Project located at the Las Vegas Museum of Organized Crime and Law Enforcement at 300 Stewart Avenue. Office of Business Development, the award recommended to Westlake Reed Lakoski, and this is in Ward 5. 24 is approval of award of bid number 09.15341.26-TF, Las Vegas Museum of Organized Crime and Law Enforcement Fabrication, located at 300 Stewart Avenue, and the construction conflicts and contingency reserve set to by Finance and Business Services, Department of Public Works, award recommended to Hardy Construction, and that's in Ward 5, of course. And then item number 30. Item number 30 is approval of award of modification number 3 to bid number 08.15341.04-LED, revised, Las Vegas Museum Phase 3, rehabilitation for the Las Vegas Museum of Organized Crime and Law Enforcement located at 300 Stewart Avenue, and construction conflicts and contingency reserve set by Finance and Business Services, Department of Public Works. The award is recommended to ATCO Construction, and this is in Ward 5. I believe that Councilman Anthony, you asked that these be brought forward?
Yes, Mayor. I don't have any discussion points. I just want to set the votes.
Okay, that's fair enough. Then can we have a motion to approve by Councilman Barlow, please?
Yes, Mayor, but before I make my motion, I would like to just get, for the sake of the public, a quick update, if you will, Mr. Adams or Mr. Cervantes, as far as where we are with the Mob Museum and the rehab, external and internal.
Very good.
I guess I'll start, and if Aria wants to chime in, let him do so. We're well into the core and shell rehab of the building. In fact, one of the items that you're approving today augments our contingency reserve. We encountered some more remediation we had to do in the building. We had lead-based paint. We had some asbestos and other issues that were unforeseen that needed to be remediated. That also, because this is a National Register historic building, we have to rehab the building to Secretary of Interior standards. That required that, because we disturbed places in the building because of that asbestos and other lead-based paint removal, we had to replaster some of the areas to meet those Secretary of Interior standards. That required an augmentation of about $360,000 to the budget, which is reflected in one of these items. That realized about a 3 to 4 month delay in the overall construction schedule of the project. The other item that's before you, the $7.1 million award of exhibits, should you approve that this morning, we would later this month issue a notice, proceed, and start the actual exhibit fabrication. Now, some of that work gets done off-site by companies that are very experienced in fabricating the things that go inside a museum. So what we've been doing over there up till this point is simply rehabbing the building to accept the exhibits that make it a museum, and rehabbing that building to National Register historic standards. This next phase will really make it become the Mob Museum, where we actually build the exhibits that go in it, that tell the history of what we're trying to do as a Mob Museum. That work, some of it is off-site, and then at the point that they're complete with those exhibits, I'll bring them into the building and install it. There will be an overlap of the core and shell construction work and the exhibit installation work, and that'll probably be sometime this spring. The intent is still to have the building open, we think, somewhere in July to the public, in July of 2011, but our intent is to have a building dedication and a soft opening where when you go in it, you'll really be looking at what you'll be seeing as a Mob Museum, probably in May or June of 2011. So we're moving along, actually two paths for the building itself. One is the remodeling of core and shell, and the other is the actual fabrication, installation, and the exhibitry. There is a third path, and that is we're working with the museum board, the 300 Stewart Avenue Corporation Board, in the start of the hiring of the full-time staff that will actually operate the facility as a full-time Mob Museum. And that that process has also begun. So that by the time we have all this work done in roughly June or July of next year, we'll have a complete staff in place and ready to go to operate it as a facility.
Within the museum, there is a retail component.
Yes, and that's the other piece that they're also working on as a nonprofit board is they are evaluating the companies that actually can come in and operate the retail space. There would be the museum itself will have its own products and merchandise that they would sell as gifts. You know, as you go through a museum, you come out usually in the retail shop. They'll be selling mob museum paraphernalia that would be available to the guests, and that provider, the company that actually helps develop those products and then operate the retail facilities, also in the process of being selected. So it's a very complicated project, a number of moving parts, and they're all moving on parallel tracks to an opening of summer of next year.
Yeah, and I'm very much looking forward to it because this is going to be an exciting entertainment attraction, not just for the downtown community, but I believe for the entire Las Vegas community, and all of the tourists that will be attracted to this venue will be a plus for all of the surrounding and auxiliary properties in the downtown area as well. So thank you for that update, Mr. Adams. And Mayor, if you will, I would like to move for approval of item number 21, subject to all conditions.
Okay, yeah, 23, 24, and 30. We'll do them all together. If that's okay.
Okay, that'll be fine. 21, 23, 24, and 30?
Right.
Okay.
Before we vote, I believe that Councilor Ross would like to say something.
I would, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Councilman. I want to share some thoughts that I've heard from the community as well, not specifically in regards to this item, but also in conjunction with the Neon Boneyard. I've heard some comments from folks in the community that we are really working hard on having that new cultural base in the downtown area. The existing Boneyard has already been visited by everyone in all 50 states and about people from 38 countries. So this is going to be the Mob Museum in conjunction with that Neon Boneyard. We're really hitting the cusp of really being a cultural center in the downtown area, and I just want to make that comment.
I appreciate that. Dennis Barry, who was our consultant, who was the brains and genius behind developing the Spy Museum in the District of Columbia and the Rock and Roll Museum up in Cleveland, he said, in his opinion, from what he's heard in the industry, so to speak, that the Mob Museum is the most eagerly anticipated museum in the country. So it's an exciting project to have in our community. All right, there's a motion. Let's vote, please.
Mr. Mayor, could
Yes.
I just ask one question?
Sure.
In the Law Enforcement Museum, could I just ask, when we sell these things in the stores, will any profit that comes in would go to help cover expenses?
Yes, that's one of the issues that the nonprofit is exploring, is just to what extent they would participate in the split of revenues that come back to the museum to help defray their operating expenses.
Well, particularly at the beginning, I was thinking it might be good to have some additional buffer there financially.
That's correct. You approved an agreement about 2 months ago between the city and the 300 Stewart Avenue Corporation that provides for remuneration back to the city in the event the facility is very successful, to reach certain thresholds of financial success, then there would actually be even profit sharing back to the city resulting from the Mob Museum. So there's two levels. One that will occur between these providers and the nonprofit itself to help them sustain and operate the facility, and then there would be another one that between the city and the nonprofit that, should it be very successful, will realize return on our investment in the facility as well.
I also feel this is going to be a great success, and I hope, and I'm glad to see that you're being very careful that any profits made will go back to covering expenses, particularly, as I said at the beginning of the project. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, there's a motion to approve 23, 24, and 30. Please vote. Opposed?
Mayor, did you include 21?
Yes. No, 21 was the prior item.
I'm sorry.
No problem. That's 23, 24, and 30. Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 40 is approval of fourth supplemental interlocal contract LAS 05F03 between the City of Las Vegas and the Clark County Regional Flood Control District to extend the design project completion date to June 24, 2012 for the Alta Parallel System, which is bounded on the west by Rainbow Boulevard, to the north by US 95, on the east by Decatur Boulevard, and on the south by Evergreen Avenue, and this is in Ward 1.
Jorge, I just wanted you, if you could, for 40 and 41, to give some specifics for families or people who aren't aware of exactly what this means. For example, I had a call, what is a parallel project, and things along that line. If you could specify for those in the community who aren't familiar with this type of wording, exactly what's happening.
Before you start, Mr. Cervantes, let me read 41 into the record, too. Approval of second supplemental interlocal contract, LAS 05H08, between the City of Las Vegas and the Clark County Regional Flood Control District to extend the construction project completion date to June 24, 2012 for the Alta Parallel System, which is bounded on the west by Rainbow Boulevard, to the north by US 95, on the east by Decatur Boulevard, and on the south by Evergreen Avenue. Ward 1 as well. Thank you.
Councilman, what these projects are, there are a couple of drainage projects that we're doing up in this part of town. The reason they're called the Alta Parallel is because there's some existing drainage lines that go down Alta, and these lines are running parallel to them, thus the name Alta Parallel. But what it is there's a couple of detention basins up on Rainbow and Westcliff. And so what this project did was make those detention basins a little bit bigger, added more capacity to them, and then this is doing some drainage lines that come down around the Evergreen area, down around the Alta corridor, and eventually drop the water back into those detention basins. So there's some drainage improvements to increase water capacity for drainage facilities and to put in some new lines parallel to the existing ones that are on the Alta corridor.
So basically, we call it the Alta Parallel because there's already something on Alta, and we're not taking that out. That stays there, but this is going to run parallel to it?
That's correct, Councilwoman. The lines that are there today don't feed into the detention basins. They actually carry water further east down the system. These are just lines that are parallel to those that are going to a detention basin.
And then they'll add whatever's needed then to what is already there.
That's correct.
And where does the money come from for this?
This comes from the Regional Flood Control District. Earlier, Gail Frazier was here talking about the bonds that they sell for these projects. And so it's all Regional Flood Control money, which comes from a 8-cent sales tax that they use to generate the revenue for this. And so these two items here aren't additional money to the project. What it is the funding agreement that we have with the Regional Flood Control District to extend the time on those funding agreements so that we can continue with the project.
So the Flood Control District, with their specialists, determines where we need to have these projects, and then the monies are set aside for the projects.
All the entities work with the Regional Flood Control District to look at the valley as a whole, as a master plan. And we identify where drainage improvements are required on this master plan, and then we program them over a 20-year period to do these improvements. And the Regional Flood Control District, as the funding agency, provides the funding for the improvements.
You said a 3-year period?
A 20-year plan.
20-year. It's a 20-year period that you look at all of these that you've determined cooperatively have need.
It's a 20-year plan, Councilwoman. What we do is we accelerate projects that are within a 3-year window. We bring them forward and put them out to construction.
That's right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, and Councilwoman, do you have a motion on 40 and 41, please? Thank you.
Move to approve.
Thank you. Let's vote, please. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, we'll go on to item number 50. 50 is discussion and possible action regarding a memorandum of understanding between City Parkway 5, Inc. and the Smith Center for the Performing Arts, a Nevada nonprofit corporation, to express a mutual intent to negotiate agreements relating to the donation of parcel M3 at Symphony Park, located at 100 South Grand Central Parkway. This is in Ward 5. Mr. Arndt.
Thank you, Mayor. For the record, Bill Arndt, Director, Office of Business Development. This item before you today is really exciting. It's the continuing evolving of the development of a private park at Symphony Park. We've been working on this for quite a while. Just by way of introducing the item, on March 5th of 2008, the City Council approved a memorandum of understanding between City Parkway 5, Inc. and the Master Association of Symphony Park for the development of a private park. Since then, we've formed the Master Association to manage the private common areas in Symphony Park. We've also been working with the Smith Center for the Performing Arts for how best to fund the design and the construction of the park, as well as how best to maintain and operate the park. In working with the Smith Center, we have been able to achieve a private grant from the Reynolds Foundation in the amount of $10 million for both the design and the construction of the park. That grant is conditioned upon the Smith Center for the Performing Arts, which is a 501c3 nonprofit, acquiring the lands as a donation from City Parkway. In doing this, we want to move forward to allow the Smith Center to spend Reynolds Foundation money to design the park. There is a conceptual rendering of on the overhead of what the park is intended to look like, and this memorandum of understanding, although it is non-binding, gives everyone a comfort level of allowing the Smith Center to proceed with the design team to spend money on designing the park. Part of that $10 million for design. Future construction will be managed by the Smith Center as well. We will be taking a disposition and development agreement back before you within the next 60 to 90 days. The end date for construction of the park, we're trying to get the park built to coincide with the opening of the Smith Center for the Performing Arts, which is scheduled for March of 2012, and we're actually ahead of schedule, thanks in large part to the Smith Center and their team who's here today. Before I introduce the Smith Center team, I'd like to thank our project manager, Newland, who negotiated this item with the Smith Center team, as well as with the Reynolds Foundation. And Sam Gladstein's here representing Newland. And on behalf of the Smith Center, we have both Paul Beard as well as Rick Johnson of the Smith Center for the Performing Arts. With that, I'd be glad to answer any questions, and also invite you to ask questions of the Smith Center as well.
All right, thank you, Mr. Arndt. I know yesterday during our briefing, Councilman Ross asked for you to bring up a photograph or a picture of the proposed park site. There's something on our computer. It's very dark. Are we able to get something with a little more definition, or is that it?
Let me try turning over to another rendering that's a little bit of a closer-up shot.
Okay, that'd be great. That's much better.
And Mayor, while he's doing that, if I may.
Yes.
The reason and for folks at home watching this, the excitement is growing about what's happening in the downtown area. The excitement is growing. The museum, the Neon Boneyard, the Smith Performing Arts Center. This is just one more additional gem that is going to be part of the whole set in that area.
Thank you. Mr. Arndt, could you sort of put this in context?
Sure. The building on the top of the park, you see the park it's really a linear park, and I'm going to point out some of the street boundaries here. We have to the right of the rendering the promenade, which is going to be predominantly a pedestrian shopping district, like you see in major urban centers around the country. To the left, or the major part of the park, we have City Parkway, which is going to be the major vehicular thoroughfare within the park. And then you see the park itself is surrounded by Symphony Park Drive. We recently changed the name of Discovery to Symphony Park Drive to acknowledge our anchor project, one of our anchor projects in Symphony Park with the Smith Center for the Performing Arts. You see the Smith Center for the Performing Arts just above the park here. And then on the north side, or the bottom of the park, you see the massing of the Charlie Palmer Hotel. And so really what you have is you really have an urban park, which is going to be a great amenity for the Smith Center for the Performing Arts. It's going to be designed to host different events. It's going to be a welcoming green space, a desirable location for public art. Could host outdoor concerts. It's going to be available for all the patrons of Symphony Park. And we really have a wonderful mix of uses at Symphony Park. Here this morning is Brian Smith from Cleveland Clinic, who was here for this morning's consent item. So certainly it's going to cater to a variety of users, patients or families of patients visiting Symphony Park, patrons of the Symphony Park itself, the Smith Center, hotel users, and hopefully eventually residents living within Symphony Park as well. So we think it's going to be a wonderful amenity. The design is up for refinement, so we didn't want to show you really large boards when there may be some design changes along the way to refine and better the ultimate design and use of the park.
Thank you. It's absolutely incredible. When I drive home, I drive down Ogden and cut across Grand Central Parkway, and it's just remarkable. Every day I pass the Smith Center for Performing Arts, and you talk about progress. It's extraordinary. I mean, every day you see it keeps on growing and getting better, and it's actually a visual experience that is very, very special, because I've never seen a project that you can follow just about every single day and see it just grow and become more beautiful as it's being built. It's really phenomenal. It's going to be a real credit to this community. With what's happening over there, this is going to be a centerpiece, and it's going to change the way everybody thinks of Las Vegas. This will take us to the next level, so to speak, as far as being a world-class city.
Thank you, Mayor. And I put on the overhead, this might be a better rendering. I apologize again for it being dark, but you see in the foreground, which is really the meeting area, on the opposite side of the park is the Charlie Palmer Hotel, which we have under contract. And then in the far side of the park, you see a canopy and a performance area. For our listening audience or folks that are here today who've been to Chicago and visited Millennium Park in downtown Chicago, there's a little bit of a feel of the character of what you might see in Millennium Park there, where they have a wonderful full symphony area. We're a little bit constrained with space, so it's not going to be something of that scale, but the character, the feel, it's very similar, and it's something really, I think, that is quite new to Las Vegas. We really don't have a park anywhere in the Las Vegas Valley that will look like the park at Symphony Park when it's finished.
Thank you very much. Are there any comments or questions of Mr. Arndt?
Yes, Mayor.
All right, Councilor Barlow.
Yes, just looking at all of the developments that are taking place, throughout the city of Las Vegas, and in particular in the downtown community, who could tell that we were in a recession with such, beautiful developments that are taking place. I just had an opportunity to speak with Mr. Robert Zarnigan approximately a week and a half ago, and he is very excited and motivated to continue to bring his development forward, the World Jewelry Mart. And, looking at the proposed site of the Charlie Palmer, the Performing Arts Center, the Lou Rubo Brain Institute with the Cleveland Clinic, these are all exciting developments that, Mayor, as you mentioned on many occasions, we really hit the bullseye with creating a city within a city, and looking forward to continue the progress of bringing the entertainment, such as the Mob Museum, as well as the Neon Boneyard, all of those incredible entertainment pieces and educational pieces all tied into one. And needless to say, as the economy turns around, we haven't spoken much about the residential piece. The residential piece that Newland will be bringing online, hopefully in the near future, as well as the other residential condominiums that are already in the downtown area. Although sitting quietly right now, I know that as time moves on, that you will have residents moving into the downtown to really bring all of this to life. And so, having an opportunity to sit back and watch this develop right before our eyes on a daily basis, it's really a treasurable experience to be a part of this. And let's continue to keep up the good work and really make this a world-class city, as the mayor mentioned on many occasions. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Do you want to introduce us to the young gentleman and the young lady who are with you today?
Oh, thank you. Yes, I have the opportunity of being a sponsor of 2 interns this year for the Batteries Included program, which is a youth summer program that the youth get paid to shadow professionals in all disciplines around the city of Las Vegas. And I have 2 special interns that were interviewed very well. And I want to thank my executive assistant, Tanya Jackson Renter, for a job well done with selecting these two young people whom I would like to have them introduce themselves at this time.
My name is James Pate. I attend Northwest Tech, and I'm honored to be an intern for Councilman Barlow, and I expect to learn a lot from him.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Tia Clement. I attend Canyon Springs High School. I'm glad to be an intern for Councilman Barlow, and I also am happy to be here, and I want to learn a lot.
Very good. Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you, Mayor.
If you'd be kind enough to make a motion on item 50, please.
Yes, I'll be happy to do so. And Mr. Arndt, thank you so very much for all of your due diligence and, of course, your incredible staff and the managers and your entire executive team, Betsy, for making all this happen. You know, we get the honor of the ceremonial and the ribbon cutting, but, you know, it really, you know, projects like this really happens because of the professionals that we have working in the city of Las Vegas, and you know, Lord forbid we forget the city attorney's office who vets all of this before it goes out the door. So I really want to give kudos to all of those department heads and staff members who played a part, big or small, because you all really make us look good as a council and as a city overall. So with that, I would like to move for approval of item number 50, subject to all conditions.
All right, let's go, please. Opposed? Motion carries. And just as an aside, you know, when Demetrius was being honored as the Employee of the Year because of her courtesy, it just reminds me of what the former mayor of Lansing said to me earlier today. He said that they were wandering around and were basically lost, and they ran into Tanya Jackson and the two interns, and Tanya took them virtually by the hand and brought them up to the 10th floor and treated them as though they were family, and he went out of his way to say how courteous. They never saw such friendly people in their life, so that's a good thing. That's what we want to be known for. Okay. Item 51 is a public hearing and possible action to accept the tentative concession offer made by the International Firefighters Association, the IAFF, Local 1285, regarding a new extended or modified collective bargaining agreement or similar agreement between the City of Las Vegas as the local government employer and the IAFF as the employee organization. And Ms. Fretwell, be happy to hear from you.
Thank
and
you,
Mr.
Mayor.
Tarwell.
What I'd like to do is make a couple of opening comments, then go through the details of the agreement, make a couple of closing comments. I asked Dan Tarwater to join me up here just in case I missed something. As you know, over the last 8 or so months, we have been wrestling with a very difficult budget situation. And in approaching that, we have been working diligently with our union representatives to try and address the structural budget shortfall. We set a very aggressive goal back in November of trying to reduce our wage cost by about 8%. In light of that history, I think today is a major milestone for the City of Las Vegas. For your consideration is the second of hopefully 4 labor contracts that we'll be able to bring to you this year. This contract's value is a reduction in labor costs of $6.5 million for the City of Las Vegas over the next 2 years, the majority of which we benefit from in this fiscal year. As you all are probably painfully aware, I've had 3 key things that I've been focusing on as your city manager: sustaining our services, maintaining fiscal integrity, and preserving jobs. This contract helps us do all 3 of those things. We would not be at this point today without the leadership of the president of the IAFF, Dean Fletcher. I know that things get tense during negotiations. Maybe that's an understatement. But he has been very diligent and thorough in his approach to reaching a resolution on this. And I think that it's important for me to share that publicly and with each of you. That I know that despite how difficult this has been for everybody involved, I know that he has what he feels is good for his membership in his heart as he negotiates these deals. But I also recognize that he, his team, and the members of our fire department, our fire and rescue department, our employees, also recognize that we have a city that we're trying to sustain and maintain. And but for their support, Dean's, his executive board, and our firefighters and paramedics and captains and bat chiefs, we would not be here today talking about this agreement. So I have a debt of gratitude that I owe to them for being willing to work through this very difficult time. I also feel like it's important to mention that each side, each negotiating team, endured long hours at the table to try and reach a resolution that's before you today. Dan Tarwater, our Human Resources Director, Morgan Davis, Candace Falder, Tom Miramontes, and Mike Myers worked very hard to reach a compromise that would work for everyone. So I think it's important to recognize both of the teams for all of the hard work they put into this. I also would like to thank you as our leaders for your patience, your guidance, and your support. Because without you enduring, I can't even imagine the number of hours we put in closed-door sessions talking about how we can try and work out a deal that would work for everybody and help us solve this budget crisis. We wouldn't be at this point. So I thank you for that. I thank you for intervening at the appropriate times and helping provide guidance to your negotiating team all along the way. So thank you very much for that. Very quickly, Mayor, what I would like to do is walk through the impacts pursuant to the new changes to 288. We've done this before with the PPA agreement. So what I'd like to do is just show you the wages and the articles. We have both the supervisory and the non-supervisory described here, and the impacts, and what areas will be open for discussion. Basically, we have a 2-year deal with a series of reopeners. And so what I'd like to do is just walk through each of those sections that are impacted. One, there will be no COLA in fiscal year 11. That has a approximate savings of around $2 million for the city of Las Vegas in our budget. We also have a reopener in fiscal year 12 in that regard related to COLA and salary schedules. We were able to successfully negotiate a 50% reduction in each of the 2 years of the contract in the steps that employees enjoy if they haven't reached the top of their salary range. Each of those years total about $450,000, so close to $1 million. We also created a new starting step for new hires at 5% less than the current starting salary range. And obviously, as is currently negotiated in the non-supervisory unit and was agreed to in a side agreement in a prior negotiation, any future PERS increase would be split half and half by the employee and the city. For fiscal year 11, in the category of uniforms, all of our payments would be waived there. That's a $900,000 estimated savings for the city. That would be reopened in fiscal year 12. In the category of medical payments, we would be dropping our medical payment from $450 per pay period to $360. And we would be eliminating 2 pay periods out of that, so instead of 26, there'd be 24. The net savings there is around $1.8 million. In the non-supervisory category, we would step down and eliminate the documentation pay. This is a separate compensation factor for some of our employees right now. So that would be cut in half in 11 and eliminated when we start fiscal year 12. So a year from now, that would no longer be a compensation area. We also were able to increase the number of rovers that are available, which help us manage our overtime costs going forward from, I believe it was 6% to 8%. And as I mentioned, it's a 2-year agreement with reopeners. Some of the other things that we worked on that would be covered in standard operating procedures or a side letter. We have a standard operating procedure that will be modified to help us manage overtime costs in the battalion chief category. So if someone's going to miss more than 3 shifts, then the fire chief will be able to use a 40-hour BC to fill in for them. That will help us manage our overtime costs. Additionally, we will not solicit or otherwise seek a proposal to study privatization of our EMS for the duration of the contract for 2 years. And what this allows us to do, and I think these are kind of what I would call the major impacts of this deal, is that we would be able to restore the fire department budget through these contract savings. We would eliminate the need for us to have scheduled brownouts. Hopefully, we would be able to avoid all of them, but for incidental brownouts based on whatever scheduling issues the chief might be facing. But having a scheduled brownout, we would be able to eliminate as a result of approval today. Now, what that will mean is that you have approved a budget of around $103 million. So what we will do is we will basically use the savings from this to be able to restore the services. Over the course of the year, we're anticipating additional revenues, as we mentioned at the tentative budget. We're anticipating sticking around the 3 transports a day per unit. That should increase our revenues. So we're hoping that revenues will help fill that gap. We are also hoping for additional budget underruns. That may or may not happen because this is a very tight budget. We reduced the fire department budget by about $14 million, 11%. And so we're trying to balance within that, but recognize that there may be an augmentation because 103 budget is a significant reduction. And as a last effort, if we had to, we would go to transfer in from other sources in the general fund to make the budget true up at the end of the year. So we will be aggressively managing that budget and doing our best to keep all of the services intact so that we can be there and responsive the way we want to be and the way we've been so successful at being. It also saves the cost of a public safety privatization study, which is not a cheap endeavor, and it saves the cost of arbitration. You can see where we started with the goals that we outlined at about the beginning of the year, end of last calendar year. We have gotten a long way there. This fire agreement represents about a 5% reduction plus flat in the first year. Our finance director really doesn't like recognizing second-year savings. Personally, I count it. So that's another $900,000 in fiscal year 12, plus the opportunity to have the reopeners to re-engage in a dialogue with the firefighters probably in February or so next year. And we will have to, because this is a one-year snapshot. Next year we have a fairly significant deficit that we've got to overcome, very similar to the amount of cuts we made this year. We anticipate needing to make next year around $47 million. But I guess I'd just like to wrap up, Mayor, by saying that I think the biggest impact of this agreement is that we are going to keep our fire and rescue services and our personnel in that function intact. We're not having to lay people off. We're not having to reduce our services. We're tightening our belt. But we're doing what we set out to do, which is lower the unit cost of delivering the same service we've always delivered to our public, to our community. We truly have the best fire and rescue department, I think, in the country. Despite some very difficult financial times, through all kinds of unique ways of deploying resources, our chief has worked out a plan to sustain our ISO 1 rating. We're still accredited, and we're going back through that accreditation process now. We have not stopped trying to be the best despite some very difficult financial times. And I'm proud that with this agreement, we will hopefully be able to sustain that over another year. It may not be something we can sustain long term, but we will not stop trying to be the very best. We have set trends in patient care. You heard a report last meeting about the cold IV infusion process that we're using. And isn't that really what this is about? Saving people's lives, saving people's properties. And we're doing a fantastic job of getting there as quickly as we can to be able to mitigate property loss and getting there with the best techniques in patient care to save lives when they need us the most. I'm proud we're going to be able to sustain that level of service for another year. I think this agreement allows us to do that. And I think it's consistent with what the public told us. Try and keep your fire and rescue services intact, but at a lower cost of doing business. This agreement doesn't. And I'm really hoping for your support today in order for us to move on. I think Dean was quoted that way in the paper this morning. It's time to get back to business. Take care of the people. Get back to what we do so well. And I know, Mayor, that Dean Fletcher's here in the audience, maybe with a couple of his board members. I'd like to invite him up here if he has some remarks to make at this time. And then I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Very good. Thank you. Fletcher.
Good morning, Mayor and Council.
Good morning.
Thank you, Betsy, for the kind words. The main thing today is the citizens are protected, again, for another year. For EMS, emergency medical services, for also fire protection. No brownouts. Response times are very important to us, but mainly the citizens. I've told you time and time again what we're doing. You've heard it from Dr. Slattery, and we need to move forward on those. What we're doing, allow the chief to continue to do what we can do better. We can move forward. We can bring revenues into the city. We are doing a great job for you and the citizens. Fire response is also critical in those times. So we have to meet those response times to be successful also. So we've been helping you out. This is going to be the second year in a row the members of Las Vegas Fire Rescue did not get a cost of living raise. We came in under budget $8 million again this year. $8 million. EMS transports generated back to the city again this year $4.5 million. We're doing our part, and we will continue to. So I ask you to support the men and women of the fire department. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
Mr. Fletcher, if you stay up here for a moment, please. Betsy, you presented yourself and the city very well today. I want to thank you for that. Mr. Fletcher, Dean, I want to thank you for allowing Mr. Wolfson and the mayor and I to sit in on one of your pre-negotiating meetings here a month or so ago. It was quite enlightening for me to be able to sit in there and see how the negotiation works, for us to be able to explain to you and your staff of negotiators what we felt like we could support, how you took it to heart, how you went out and come back in and told us this is what you could do, this is what you couldn't do. I really appreciated being able to sit there and watch and listen. I learned a lot that day. I know our chief does a fantastic job with what he has to work with. I know that there's been times when I think we was really questioned on what we needed, what we wanted, both on both sides. And I really feel like that this is close. I believe that it's as close as we can get at this time. I just hope that we can continue to negotiate in good faith in the next few months to come. Because I really feel like that we are going to have to really bend the bar again. But I want you to know, from me, my perspective is that You are a true gentleman. You always treated me fair and honestly, and I hope that you feel like that the city is trying to do the same thing with you and the members that you represent. I know I can't support this item today. I would like to be able to make the motion for approval of this item. I think it's important that the people, as well as those people doing the work, know that they can have confidence in the leadership of this city. And I know there's been things mentioned that we don't support, but we do. We always have, and we always will. And all we have to do is continue to work together. The city negotiating team, when they come into our closed doors and try to talk to us, I think we try to steer them in what we think that we need to do. But I think you've done a great job in leading your people that elected you in your position, as well as I hope that the people that elect me can continue to think that I've done what I was elected to do too, and that's represent their interests too. And I know that there's been a lot of comments in the paper, and a lot of them I don't agree with because I do know what you do, and I appreciate you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Eddie?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Councilman Turkina.
I just wanted to thank Mr. Fletcher and his group for all their hard work, for their dedication to keeping the safety standards of our city so high, but mainly for making the extra efforts to take the extra steps to do what needed to be done. And I think in a time like that, it's hard to do, but you did it, and I want to thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very good. Councilman Ross?
Thank you, Mayor. Captain Fletcher, likewise with my colleagues. I know that this has been a challenge, but I also know the men and women of Fire and Rescue for the City of Las Vegas are dedicated to the people of this city, as are you. And it's good to know that your organization and those men and women of Fire and Rescue, and Chief, I see you sitting over there as well, they want to be part of the solution. They understand where we're at. They understand the economic dynamic as to what's happening in the city right now and what we have to do to get past this next couple of years. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for those men and women and the sacrifices that they make for the people of this city and their careers. Ms. Fretwell, likewise with you. This has not been easy for both sides. And I appreciate your staff and the long hours that you put into this, because I'm aware of it. And it has not been easy, but it's nice to see that when a bargaining organization comes together with management, we can find some solutions and point the ship in the right direction for the next several months. Captain Fletcher, that's huge. And I want to congratulate the men and women of your department for recognizing and being part of that solution. I have some questions, Mayor, for Ms. Fretwell, if I may.
Sure.
Betsy, in regards to this privatization, if we continue to pursue this in the future, give us some idea of what the steps will take and how studying this privatization impacts our relationship and with our contract with AMR. Can you do that for me, please?
Sure. Thank you, Councilman. One of the concessions on the management side was not doing an EMS privatization study. Let me say this. As a manager, typically what we would do, if there was going to be a major privatization of something that we do as a city, we would do some sort of analysis before we would come with a recommendation to the mayor and council that would indicate this is a good idea, this is a bad idea, this is how far you should go, so that you have something to reflect on before you change in a major way what we do for our community. Obviously, in a highly specified area like public safety, we typically would rely on outside expertise to do that kind of work. And I think the critical thing for us to recognize is that in this agreement, it would be a side letter agreement between Mr. Fletcher and myself. We would not engage in a privatization study over the next 2 years. As your city manager, typically if we needed to go down the privatization route, that would be my preferred way of approaching a privatization effort. But, as I looked at all the things that were at stake, I look at what a fantastic job our people do. We're really talking about the cost of delivering the service. not the quality. If we were only talking about quality, we wouldn't even be having these discussions, because ours is top quality. I think second to none. So as long as there's a willingness, and I think there is, as evidenced by this agreement, by the tenacity of the leadership of the firefighters union, I think we're all in this for the same thing. We want to preserve these services. We want to deliver them to our community in a way that they've come to expect, and do it in a way that we can preserve our jobs here. We just need to keep the costs manageable. I think there's a commitment to work through this next couple of years, as evidenced in this agreement. I don't feel like that study would be necessary over the next couple of years. We also have to remember that we already have a private sector partner, AMR. They do a pretty good job in covering the territory with us. We need to tweak that a little bit, and I've had initial discussions with them, both for their business model and ours, as we change our business model, increasing transports, doing unique treatments and therapies to keep people alive. We're going to continue to need to have those discussions. Not doing the study doesn't impact that, because we've already got an existing relationship. But not doing the study, I think, tells our firefighters we have faith in them, we believe in their ability to do it, and if times get rougher, we still need to cut costs, they're willing to sit down and work with us on it. And that's why I felt that that was a reasonable proposal to bring to the council for consideration.
If I can follow up, Mayor?
Sure.
And Betsy, that's what I wanted you to hear. That's what I wanted to hear. And that's significant. Captain Fletcher talked about response times and the way this department provides services to the residents of this city. And that's significant. We all feel when we dial 911, we expect some kind of emergency response team at our front door in minutes, whether it's fire and rescue or whether it's Metro. And that's significant. And it's providing those services and that level of professionalism that the men and women of our fire and rescue have. So I thank you for that answer.
Thank you. Councilman Anthony?
Thank you, Mayor. Good presentation, Betsy. I know you've worked pretty hard, both you and Mr. Fletcher, to put this together, and the financial portion of this is good. I mean, $6.5 million savings is pretty significant, and I support that. What bothers me is the study portion of it, and it's not so much the privatization of the ambulance, it's actually the principle that we're collectively bargaining away this city council and your right to do a study. And I think that's going to set a precedent for future collective bargaining discussions where, future associations can say, well, you're looking at consolidating departments. We want that part of the discussion, whether you should do that or not. You're looking at privatizing so-and-so. We want that part of the discussion. So that it seems like we're bargaining away a right that we have to study something to be more efficient, more effective, and I don't know what the outcome of an ambulance study would be. I mean, I don't know if we would increase ambulance service, decrease it. I don't know if we would take any action, but it just seems like that we're bargaining away something that we have the right to do to make things better for the city of Las Vegas, make things better for the citizen, and that just disturbs me a little bit. And I guess what I'm hearing you say, though, is even though we're not doing the study, we're still going to have discussions with the private sector in terms of ambulance, what exactly the ambulance service is going to be from the fire department side and from the private sector side, even though we're not doing the study. Is that correct?
Well, maybe I should clarify it, and maybe something that'll give you a little more comfort on the management side of the fire department. As I mentioned, we're ranked very highly in the country from an accreditation standpoint and from an insurance services office standpoint, the highest you can be. So there are metrics associated with that effort that tell you whether or not you're performing well. So add to a layer to that, we have our own performance management system in the city of Las Vegas where your executive team sits down with each department head once a quarter and goes over how well they are performing. And we look not only at outcome measures, but at efficiency measures. So how much is it costing us to provide this excellent service? And are there ways that we can reduce those costs? So I think it's important to remember that. Let me clarify, we don't plan on doing a study, really. I mean, obviously, if this agreement is approved, we will not be doing a study where we would go out, hire a consultant, and have someone come in and say, AMR can do this, company Y can do that, fire can do some, none, or all. We won't have that kind of comprehensive review. But there is an acknowledgement, we discussed this at the negotiating table, that we already have a private sector partner. We are doing more. Based on the council's direction back in March, we have already expanded to 3 transports a day per unit, on average. We anticipate that's not going to back off. In fact, we need that additional revenue in order to make this budget work. But it would not be fair to our private sector partner not to sit down and have a conversation about what those impacts are to them, and if there's some system optimization things that we need to be working on with them in the way that we expand further into that category of EMS transports. And so that's really what I'm talking about. I've had preliminary conversations with the leadership of AMR in that regard. They're aware of it. They just want to have an opportunity to sit down and be able to adjust their service delivery model and have all of us working off the same sheet of music as far as the metrics are concerned. We have some work to do in that area, and I anticipate that we will do that. In fact, Deputy Manager Jim Nichols and Chief Gammon will be working with AMR in that regard over the coming months. But I don't see that as us slipping back and saying we're not going to do 3 transports. We may be doing 3 certain kinds of transports or 3 certain kinds of transports in certain areas or something like that to create a more efficient system and keep our private sector partner as intact as possible as we expand in that service area.
Okay, that makes sense. It just the part that really sticks in my mind is that I've never seen a collective bargaining agreement where it basically dictates to the organization what they can and can't study. And I just don't agree with that in this part of the agreement. So the financial aspect is fine, but if this agreement includes dictating one way or the other whether we should do studies, and I think that's going to set precedent for the future, I can't support the agreement.
Mayor?
Let me just respond to that, if I may, before, and Councilman Barlow has some questions, and then we'll go to Councilman Russ. It's not part of the agreement. This is a side agreement. If it was part of the agreement, then there may have been some precedential value, but this is not included in the agreement which will be signed between Fire and us. It's a gentleman's agreement between Fire and the city.
It's a letter agreement, and it's not in the contract.
It has no precedential, we've been advised by the attorneys, there is no precedential effect whatsoever because it's not part of the agreement. It's a promise between the negotiating parties as to a certain status, but not part of the agreement per se, and therefore has no precedential value. That was carefully gone over between Mr. Ricciardi and our counsel, and everybody understands that.
Well, and Mayor, can we clarify the document speaks for itself?
That's correct.
Without me saying what it means or you saying what the document is a signed document that Ms. Fretwell and I signed.
That's correct.
It's a side letter of agreement.
That's correct. The document was made for itself. Absolutely. All right, Councilman Barlow and then Councilman Ross. Okay, fine. Councilman Barlow and then Councilman Anthony.
Well, I wasn't sure, Mayor, if Councilman Anthony was done, so he looks like he wasn't.
I just have a follow-up.
Go ahead.
Certainly, go ahead.
I guess the only question I have is if this letter was not agreed to between the city and the fire department, would we be moving forward with the financial aspect of this contract? So I don't know whether we would end up doing a study or not, but without the letter, would the Fire Association be in front of us requesting this contract be approved?
No, they would not. This was absolutely part of our discussions, but not part of the formal agreement.
Thank you, Mayor. Betsy, going back to your previous slide where it has no COLAs as of July 1, Okay, I didn't see the savings. So that's a $2 million savings. Is that accurate?
Budgeted, yes.
Budgeted.
Yeah.
And also, if you move forward, I believe it's the next slide, where, one more, please.
Oops, sorry.
Okay, there, where the city manager would restore portions of the fire budget using the concessions gained in a new agreement sufficient to avoiding scheduled brownouts for a year. If you can explain that, and also, what is the adjustment that will be restored to the fire budget as far as a dollar amount?
There's a couple of things that I probably ought to mention. One, it's not our intent to amend the fire budget right now. What we will do is at the end of the year, you've seen these, we just had them a month or so ago on your agenda, a whole series of augmentations.
Yes.
That's when we would clean up the fire budget, so to speak. We're going to have to do the exact same thing with detention and enforcement based on our PPA agreement and the Muni court budget. Instead of making a mid-year adjustment, hoping things pan out, we'll just clean it up at the end. Here's my understanding. In order for the fire department to operate without brownouts, we need to have the fire department budget at around $106.9, $107 million in effect throughout the course of the year. So even though they have a $103 million budget, we're anticipating through the savings that we will really be running at around 107. So we're going to do a couple of things. One, we'll use the savings from this contract to help us get closer to the 103. We will use new revenues to help offset any shortfall. We will do our best to underrun the budget in other areas that don't have service impacts in order to avoid a shortfall. And then finally, if we need to, we would do a transfer in from the general fund, other areas of the general fund, probably based on underruns, to be able to true up the budget based on actual expenses at the end of the year. So a year from now, there will potentially be an item that would be an augmentation in the general fund that will clean up the fire budget, the D&E budget, and the Muni court budget. The D&E budget, the Muni court budget, and the fire budget are going to be very dependent upon their ability to hit the revenue targets that we've been talking about and sort of giving credit to instead of hitting these targets 100%. With this fire agreement, we're at about 64%. With the PPA agreement, we were at 82%. But those numbers don't line up to the departmental budgets. Not to go into a budget education session here for everybody, but they're not the same thing, but they're a major contributor to the departmental budget, but they're not everything. And because we're short, we're not hitting the goal 100%, we will probably have to make adjustments at the end of the year if we don't hit the revenues that we're hoping to hit.
I understand.
Does that work?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
And going back to the conversation previously as it relates to EMS, my question is, the EMS, does it bring in more money than the cost of services, or the cost of services outweigh the amount in which it brings in?
That's a difficult question to answer. Do we recover more than we spend on having paramedic ambulance units out on the street? No. We spend over $20 million of that $103 million budget on providing pure paramedic response units out on the street. We recover around 25% of that through the fees that Mr. Fletcher described earlier. One of the things that we did in the tentative budget is say that we wanted to up that amount of money that we are receiving, that we actually collect, so we've changed our collection system to make it more efficient. We're running more runs, and hopefully through more efficient collections, as well as having more volume, we will actually be able to increase our revenues in that regard. Will we raise $20 million when we've been averaging somewhere around $4 or $5 million? No, but hopefully it'll be more. The likelihood of us not having paramedic units out on the street, completely be out of the business, is probably not high either. So you can't assume that we would be able to eliminate $20 million worth of our budget by saying we're out of the EMS service. What we need to do is get more in sync. Things like eliminating this document pay help us do that, because our return on investment per run will go up by not having as many costs associated with providing the EMS service today. So it's fairly dynamic, and part of it is that we are structured in a way that we can get to somebody's house if they're having a heart attack, if they've had a fall, if they've had a car wreck, within 4 to 6 minutes. Our franchisee may not be able to do that without restructuring their entire business. We don't expect them to be there. We expect to be there, and then they come as the second line of defense, if you will. If we were going to get completely out of that business, we'd have to change the entire model. So what we're suggesting is that we stick with the current model, that we refine it, that we make it more cost-effective, which with this agreement we're going to be able to do, and then we stay in that business of providing emergency medical response to our community that they've come to enjoy.
Okay. And Mayor, one final question before we move to the vote. Betsy, if you go back a slide, I believe it where it has the 5% for the new employee.
I think it's on the other page.
There it is. Reduces, no, that's it.
Yes, it's the third dark blue line.
Yeah, FY11, reduce step number 1 by 5%. How do we get to the 5%? Can you explain that?
Most of the steps average around 5.5%. The step ranges for the fire department are uneven. It would have been a little difficult to try and even all of those out, although we did discuss it this year, and probably will be something we will want to discuss next year. But basically, 5% is kind of an average step. So we're just reducing the cost of that new employee by 5% when they start out.
Upon being hired?
Yes.
Okay. And that is in order to reduce the growth of the labor over time?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a long-term savings. That's why it has no value on here.
Right.
It has a lot of value, actually. When we ran the numbers back in April, we anticipated with additional rovers and the lower entry step, we could save over $500,000 a year when fully implemented. But because we haven't done it, we didn't calculate that as savings today,
Right.
because we haven't added new people.
Okay. And the COLA, the elimination of the COLA no COLA as of July 1. Well, the question is that as of July 1 of this month, as far as no COLA, or when does that?
Well, right now, because of the status of our negotiations, there is no COLA that's due at any certain date, because this was an open area of negotiation. So basically, you start at zero and you negotiate wherever you land. So there is no anticipated COLA, and with this agreement, there would be no COLA. Like last year, we had no COLA as well.
So just during the
all
2 years?
employees for 1 year.
For 1 year. Okay.
And then it'll reopen next year to have a discussion about steps and COLA.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? I would like to make a couple of observations. By arriving at this point today, I believe that our fire and rescue men and women return to the perceived status that they enjoyed after they were declared heroes in the events of 9/11. Unfortunately, because of the collective bargaining process, it became we versus them, us versus you, when to a person, everybody in the community should applaud the service that our department renders to our citizens throughout this valley, not just in the city of Las Vegas. As Betsy indicates, it's the finest service that money can buy. And that's what this became. It became a question of dollars and an economy that we have never had to fathom before in reaching our budget and our ability to provide the value to our constituents that they have come to enjoy. Got some tough people at the table. Betsy, you were tough. I know that you went home many a night ready to throw up your hands, but the next day you came back and you had the resolve to follow it through and to do what was best for the citizens of Las Vegas, to do what was best for the community. And Dean, you and your crew, tough as nails. Wouldn't budge, wouldn't wither, and stayed by your guns. But you did something that I think should be a lesson to all of those who are public servants in the best sense of the word. That you came to the table and you did not only what was best for you and yours, but what was best for the community as a whole. And we appreciate that, because the worst thing that could have happened, because nobody would have benefited by this, would be to go to arbitration. Then there would be an uncertainty, and the public would say, look, they didn't do what they should have done. And I would have said, look, they didn't do what they should have done. And you would have said, they didn't do what they should have done. But by reaching this point, I think that everybody could sleep securely and know that our fire and rescue folks will be at their beck and call to make sure that we have the best that money can buy. One person that we haven't given credit to is a guy who was in a very, very tough spot, and that was our chief. Chief Gammon rose through the ranks, and he was torn on many occasions as to what path he should follow. But he's a moral, ethical, strong person who always did what was best, even in the face of perhaps being subject to criticism by those who are your brethren in your occupation and profession. But you always did what was best for the city of Las Vegas, and you did what was best for the people who live in this valley here. And I want to thank you for being the kind of person that you are, because I think that even though you weren't physically present during much of the discussions, everybody has such respect for you that they wanted to do what was right for you at the end of the day. And you have our thanks as a council. And Dean and your crew, I gave you my word that I was going to tell the truth, and that is that we believe you are the very best. I hope that the economy rebounds and we don't have to go through this agony next year. I hope that we'll continue to keep the doors open to one another and to talk to one another and to do what's best for those people that we serve. And with that, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you.
Mayor, I think you have to open it up for public comment, because it's a public hearing.
It is?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you,
Public
Mayor.
hearing, if anyone would like to be heard. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
isn't our fire department rated the highest in the
Yes.
state?
No, in the country.
Among the highest
We're
in
in
the
the top
country?
7 in the country.
About 7th in the country, did you say?
The top 7. There's
We're in the
only
top
7 that have the same
See,
accreditations
I think
we
people
have.
overlook this, that our fire department representing the city is ranked among the top 7 in the country, and isn't it ranked the highest in the state?
I think we're probably the only ones that are ISO 1 left. Is that right, Chief?
Well, let me tell you, if we're in the top 7, then we got to be the top in the. We have to be ranked in the top in the state. I just want to say, I want to point this out because too often things get mixed up, and when we talk about response times and about everything else overall, this, I mean, to be ranked in the top 7, in the top 10 in the United States of a fire department is absolutely exceptional, and I just wanted to point that out. That's all. I didn't want to take a lot of time.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Thank you, Mayor, for your comments. I appreciate
I
that.
met them.
And Council.
I met them.
In the fire service, as a fire department, there are 2 standards that we try to achieve, all fire departments try to achieve. And that's the barometer that it doesn't matter where you go. If you talk to a fellow firefighter, they can ask you 2 questions. If you can answer yes to them, they don't have to ask that much more about your department to know if you're good or not. They'll ask you, are you a Class 1 department, and are you accredited? Those are the 2 questions. Right now in the United States, there are 7 departments of all the hundreds of fire departments that have both those ratings. And we're very proud to be one of them.
Well, that's tremendous. It's absolutely tremendous, and to all of you, to your leadership, and all of the people in the department.
Well, as a department and as a chief and as a city, we're very proud of that. I think most importantly, I hope the citizens understand what level of service they're getting when they call 911 in the city of Las Vegas.
And that's why I wanted to mention that. Sometimes it all gets lost, but imagine to have in the city of Las Vegas one of the top 7 fire departments in the United States out of the hundreds that exist.
Thank you very much.
And all you have to think about, Councilwoman, is your personal experiences with the fire department. I have a mayor pro tem who wouldn't be here today but for the fire department. My home wouldn't be here but for the fire department. My wife and I had a horrendous automobile collision where we crashed into the Jersey Wall on 95, and the response of the fire department was indescribable as to how good it was. So we do have the best, and we want to keep it that way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, you talked about Chief Gammon being the leader of the fire department. We got you as our leader, too. And, we had our closed doors, and we all had our why, force, and the how comes, and the no's and the yeses. And I'm proud of where we're at today and what we're going to do here today. I appreciate the comments from my fellow council members, the mayor, Betsy, Chief, Dean. It's just, we all work together. We are a city. We are a family. With that said, with all the comments made here today, I'll make a motion to approve this new contract for IAFF with all conditions, please.
All right, let's vote, please. Opposed?
Love the system.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. All right, item 52 is a report on the status of the City of Las Vegas capital improvement projects.
Morning, Mayor, Council. Jorge Cervantes, Department of Public Works. This is a 6-month update of our capital improvement program for the period January 1st to June 30th of this year. This is just to give you a status of where we are to date. If you look at the projects that are currently active, and by active we mean those that are either under design, under construction, or just recently completed or closing out, we have a total of about 194 projects that are active. Of those, we've got them categorized here by the project type. We've got them by roadway and streetscape projects, drainage and sanitary sewer, city facilities, and park and trails. If we look at a sample of some of the projects, we'll go over here. We'll tell you where some of them are at. On the roadway side, we've got the Horse Interchange. That's about 65% complete. This is way up in the far northwest part of the valley. It's an interchange that will really serve that area to help the congested area that we have in the Durango interchange. We're looking at completing this project toward the end of the year. It not only provides an interchange spanning US 95, but it also spans the frontage road, so it provides better circulation in that area. We have the Bonneville-Clark one-way couplet, which we just had a bid opening on earlier, or actually we have bid opening on at the end of this week. This is a project that's going to help our circulation downtown, but it's also going to help us with the streetscapes enhancements of our sidewalk area in the downtown area. We're facing this project into several phases. This phase here will go from Las Vegas Boulevard to Main Street, with a later phase going from Las Vegas Boulevard down to Maryland Parkway. Earlier we talked about the MLK project. We're 95% completion on that one. We're looking at the end of the summer having that project finished up and opening it up fully to traffic. Recently we completed with the RTC the downtown BRT connector. This is a project that provides connectivity for the A system between the downtown and Resort Corridor. This project originally had an anticipated ridership by the RTC of about 6,000 riders per day. This project has actually been very successful for them. They're having ridership numbers of 12 to 15,000 per person per day versus the 6,000 anticipated. So it's a great opportunity for folks that are down the short corridor to find an easy way to get downtown. A project that was just recently awarded is the First Street beautification. This is sidewalk and streetscape improvements to First Street between Boulder Avenue and Hoover. Recently, we just had news that we've got some additional funding appropriated through the RTC through some Federal Transit Authority funds that allow us to continue this project all the way down to the Fremont Street Experience. It'll provide areas for folks out there with some of the art studios to have exhibit area on the sidewalk area and provide some refuge area.
Jorge, Mayor, if you don't mind if I just interject real quick.
No, not at all.
Okay, Jorge, I just want to ask that you pause there because I had an opportunity. If you go back to the overhead, please. I had an opportunity to visit Santa Barbara, California, and this reminded me of the streetscapes, Mayor, of the wide sidewalks, the pedestrian-friendly ambiance of the trees and the landscaping with the retail on the bottom. And when we talk about changing downtown, this is the true essence of how you bring about aesthetics as well as a walkable, friendly, pedestrian-friendly community, mixed use. And I'm very pleased to see that we're moving in that direction because this is what really separates mediocre cities and great cities, world-class cities. And I just wanted to just ask that you pause there just so that I can make mention of that we are well on our way, and this is going to be a very beautiful downtown specifically when we have an opportunity to get this online fully, and the buses, the rapid transit coming through, and everyone walking under the shade trees of the canopy, if you will, and it's just going to be really exciting. So I just wanted to just mention that, Mayor.
I appreciate that, Councilman. Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, I wanted to add that there's so many different departments that are working in this. Jorge's department, planning and development, and all little different individuals. Some of whom the mayor sometimes asks what they're doing.
Yes.
And what they're doing is trying to help with the greening of our city and the canopy, the tree canopy, and just knowing that for a long time you've been working on it, and now the fruition is coming. It's wonderful to see it.
Thank you, Councilman. In addition to the city partners, we also partner with our private partners out there, certainly the R-Strict out there, and how we enhance the area to provide an area for folks to come down the First Friday or other events, and some of the property owners along this corridor, and again, trying to put some public investment so we see the private investment come in behind it with some of the redevelopment of that area. One of our drainage projects is we just had a groundbreaking last week, which the mayor and Councilman Rouse attended for the North-South Environmental Enhancement Area. This is a combination of a couple of large detention bases, but more importantly, it also incorporates a component of a multi-use equestrian trail out there so that the folks that have horses in this area have an ability to ride their horses through the detention facility with trails and shade structures and benches for them to rest on. Earlier, we talked about the City Hall. This project is about 15% completed. We've got, let me get my glasses here. We've got most of the demolition and the buildings cleared out. The concrete foundations have been poured, and that work's completed. They're looking at starting the actual steel framing within the next couple of months. Earlier, you talked about the Performing Arts Center and what's going on in Symphony Park. This project's actually ahead of schedule. This project has the building shell completed, and work on the mechanical and electrical components are ongoing. We also talked about the Mob Museum earlier. You got a status of where that was. Project is moving forward, and we're looking at a substantial completion around May of next year. The atrium building is where we're going to be housing the new Development Service Center. Currently, our Development Service Center is at 731 4th Street. Our lease is running down in that building, and so around Thanksgiving, we'll be moving into this building. We're doing the tenant improvements now. In addition to our development service functions, we're going to have a couple of the departments move in here also, including the Department of Leisure Services, Public Works, and Business Licensing. Fire Station 6 is really a joint partnership between the city and the Community College of Southern Nevada. It's not only going to feature a working fire station, but it's also going to have a classroom setting for the community college to provide some fire protection engineering in this facility and watch an actual fire station in operation as part of their teaching. Fire Station 107 is a partnership with Sun City Summerlin, where the HOA for that community donated the land for this fire station to be built on. This facility will allow for more rapid response for a lot of medical calls come from this community. Most of the calls in Sun City are medical related, and this will allow people to respond there a lot quicker to it. The pavilion pool cover is also under construction, about 60% completed. This facility with the cover now is going to allow for year-round use of this facility versus just during the warmer summer months. If we look at some of our park and trail projects, we've got Rotary Park that we're finishing up design. We're about 40%, and we're looking to start construction of this facility toward the end of this year. Not only will this provide a renovated park area for this community, but it also is going to allow us to have some overflow parking that will help Hyde Middle School. If you drive through there in the morning or in the afternoon when school lets out, it gets very congested because of all the parents trying to pick up the kids. This will allow them to park across the street and be able to walk across and pick up their children. And then recently we completed and had a groundbreaking for the Angel Park Trail. This facility ties into the Rampart Trail, which provides connectivity to the trail system on Summerlin. Doolittle Park Phase 1, we started design on this project. This is a SNPLMA funded project. We're doing the west end of the park first. We're removing one of the baseball fields to create a picnic area for families and to provide for a passive park. We have a second phase plan that will redo the ball fields on the east side. And we just had recently a bid award for Raptor Park. Again, this is a park in the northwest that will do the west side of this facility. That will include a picnic area and some natural turf, and we'll begin the design on the east side later on this year. And just recently we completed the Boulder Plaza, again part of our effort to help the downtown area, add some area for cultural activities. Cultural activities can be programmed out in this area. It's also set up for a future sculpture piece to be set out there. And so if we look at our projects by stage, we see that we've got about $25 million worth of projects that are in the preliminary design. These are projects that are either being scoped or they're in the queue waiting to start the design process. About $438 million that are in the design. And I think most importantly, about $832 million that are under construction. Over the last 18 to 24 months, we've been doing a tremendous effort to try to get as many projects out to construction as possible, realizing that the construction industry has really been hurt in this economy. And so we're trying to do our effort to help that out. Between now and the end of the calendar year, we're looking at about 42 additional projects going out to construction with a value of about $203 million. If we look at some of the numbers that the Restrepo Group presented to the RTC, for $85,000 that gets invested into infrastructure improvements, it creates either a direct or indirect construction job. And so these $203 million that we'll put out by the end of the year is going to add over 2,400 additional jobs that we'll be able to provide this community out there. If we look at the total value of those projects that are in play, it's about $1.3 billion. And all these projects are able to be provided because of our funding partners. Here's a listing of our funding partners who provide funding for this. The bulk of the money comes from some of our regional funding sources, such as the Regional Transportation Commission, Regional Flood Control District, SNPLMA funds. Very small percentage of it comes from general fund. The bulk of it is all outside funding that we get from regional agencies. In your backup material is a listing of all the projects. This was just a small sample of them. They're classified by ward, and so if you have any questions on any specific project in your ward, I'd be glad to meet with you one-on-one and give you a status on those projects. With that, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you very much.
One question. I know you said you just invited me to speak with you later, but where are we at with the Doug Selby Family Park?
That one, I believe it's, let me get you. It's in bidding, Councilman. We're going to have a bid award real soon on that one. So as soon as we have bid award, we'll probably start construction third quarter this year. So it includes the trail. There's a trail system there, and there's a trailhead that are a component of those two systems. So it's in the bidding process right now.
There's been a question as to where will that park be located?
It's in the eastern part. It's off of Sand Hill and Owens area, but it's off of Sand Hill.
Okay, are there any other questions of Mr. Cervantes?
Yes, I do, Mayor.
Yes, Councilman Barlow.
Yes, or maybe this is more so posed towards Ms. Fretwell. Fire Station 106, would that not be on this list?
It is also in design, Councilman. It's one that's part of the process. Let me give you a status of that one. That is at 80% design, Councilman.
80% design? And that's, of course, not through the general fund, but through a grant from the, how was that funded?
Those were, if I believe, they were fire bonds.
Fire bonds
that were issued several years ago.
Okay. And so when will we see that come forward after the 100% design?
We've got that scheduled to start construction the first quarter of 2011, so at the beginning of next year, it'll start construction.
Okay. All right, I appreciate that. And that's located, that would be located...
It's on Stella Lake and MLK.
Okay. All right, I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
All right, very good. Any other questions of Mr. Cervantes? Thanks for the report. It's very helpful. Appreciate it. All right, we'll move on to item number 53. 53 is discussion and possible action regarding allocation of $500,000 of undesignated Ward 1 residential construction tax funding to Rose Warren School located at 6451 Brandywine Way and Doris Hancock School located at 1661 Lindell Road for two park improvement projects. These are in Ward 1.
Vanetta Alpiard with Finance and Business Services. These are allocating residential construction tax of Ward 1 that were previously unallocated to these areas. One thing to note is that Field Ops is currently working with the Clark County School District on an MOU regarding the maintenance of these improvements, and no contracts will be let or spending done or spending allowed until those contracts are in place.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
Just one comment. Could you please explain to those in the audience today what a residential tax is?
Residential construction tax is as companies come for improvements in their areas, permits are let for residential units. They are required to put some money forth for open space, providing for that open space for the residents. And this is residential construction tax has to be done by area, which we've designated as wards. And so this is in Ward 1.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. The Councilwoman Tarkanian.
I believe that the monies for this have mostly come from when Allure was in the Ward 1 district. And the other thing I wanted to point out was that on the MOU, my understanding is that the MOU on Rose Warren has been completed. Has any of those MOUs been completed? I was told yesterday, I think Betsy got the text while we were talking.
Councilwoman, my understanding is that we sent one maintenance agreement over for Rose Warren. We've got to do the other one for Hancock. That has not been sent over yet. We are waiting school district approval on the Rose Warren one, and then we've got to follow up on the other one.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Your motion, please.
I move to approve, and I'm so grateful for these roof taxes. We don't have a whole lot of big parks in Ward 1, but being able to work with the school district adds a lot of community flavor, and I cannot tell you how thrilled the people are near Rose Warren School to be able to have more of a park-like facility on their school playground area. One thing we do have is we have more playground area in the older area district. Thank you. I move to approve.
All right. There's a motion. Let's vote, please. Post. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, we're up to 54, which is R 52-2010, discussion and possible action regarding a resolution consenting to the undertakings of the City of Las Vegas Redevelopment Agency in connection with the Commercial Visual Improvement Program agreement between the RDA and Garrett Capital LLC, located at 1501 West Sahara Avenue, to be in compliance with and in furtherance of the goals and objectives of the RDA. This is in Ward 1, and this item is related to the RDA item number 5, which we heard earlier today. Mr. Arndt.
Thank you. For the record, Bill Arndt, Director, Office of Business Development. This item is part of our visual improvement program. The applicant, Garrett Capital, is a subsidiary of the Siegel Group, who's been a great partner to the city and to downtown. They purchased the Artisan Hotel on Sahara Avenue and are making improvements including signage, landscaping, parking lot upgrades, building paint and facade. They are investing $750,000 into the property and are therefore eligible for a $50,000 VIP grant from the redevelopment agency. Staff recommends approval.
All right, are there any questions of Mr. Arndt? All right, Councilwoman, your motion, please.
I move for approval.
Thank you. Let's vote, please. Post. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Arndt. Okay, 55 is discussion and possible action on appointments of council members to various City of Las Vegas and other jurisdictional boards, commissions, and authorities. This is the Southern Nevada Health District, and it's my privilege to move to appoint Councilwoman Tarkanian to fill the seat vacated by Councilman Barlow, and I would also move to appoint Councilman Ross as the alternate, or reappoint Councilman Ross as the alternate, and that's my motion.
Mayor, if I may just jump in and say that it has been a true honor and a privilege to serve on the Southern Nevada Health District Board. We have a great executive team led by Dr. Lawrence Sands, and unfortunately I had to step down due to my heavy workload, and I look forward to possibly serving on the board again if the opportunity comes up once I clear a couple things off of my calendar. But Councilwoman, you will have a good time on the board. Congratulations to you, and Councilman Ross will be your supporting cast to make sure that you have all of your agenda items that you need.
Right, and the record should reflect, of course, that Councilman Anthony is also our other representative to the board.
Yes.
I don't know, Councilman Anthony. I heard something of a diabolical laugh coming from the left and right here. They're all smiling, and they've all moved away. So something's up here, but we'll figure it out. Okay.
Okay. Can I have a motion, please?
So
moved. I moved. I already moved. Okay, let's vote on my motion. Let's vote. Post. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 56 is the Senior Citizen Law Project Advisory Board. The terms of Albert O'Neill, which expires July 7, 2010, and Judge Douglas E. Smith, which expires July 19, 2010. We could appoint new members or reappoint those members. They are both eligible and wish to be reappointed. Ms. Vogel, how are you?
Yes, very well, thank you.
Very
good
good.
morning, Mayor and Council. Sugar Vogel, Administrator of the Senior Citizens Law Project. Both of these advisory board members are eligible for reappointment, and they've expressed a desire to be reappointed. They've done a very good job for our seniors. Mr. O'Neill is in the private citizen category. He has retired from Southwest Gas, where he formed the weatherization program, which helped many of our senior citizens. And Judge Douglas Smith has been very supportive of our seniors. He compiles our annual customer service satisfaction survey, and I'm delighted to report that every year the Senior Law Project is scored between 90 and 100%, and he'll be compiling the results this year for the council and the mayor. We recommend their reappointment unless the council has other recommendations.
All right, that's excellent. A question before we hear the Mayor Pro Tem's motion. What age do you have to be in order to receive services from the senior?
60 years or older.
Okay, because we had that question arise last night when we were having our town hall television show. I wasn't sure whether it was 60.
It's 60 based on one of our federal grants.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Ms. Vogel, I'll make a motion to follow your recommendations.
Okay, let's vote, please.
And thank you.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your support.
Items 57 and 58, bills 2010-24 and 2010-25 are eligible for adoption at a later meeting, so we're going to move on to the new bills. New bills, items 59 through 64, bills 2010-26, through 2010-31 will be heard at the recommending committee meeting on Tuesday, July 20, 2010. Mr. Jervik, could you please read those?
I'll be happy to, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Bill number 2010-26, an ordinance to update the zoning regulations pertaining to certain cultural uses, establishing the use beer, wine, cooler, cultural establishment, redefining the current use relating to private museums and art galleries to allow the sale of art, amending the downtown Centennial Plan to allow certain outdoor events in the downtown district known as the 18B Las Vegas Arts District, and provide other matters. Bill number 2010-37, in order to adopt the Symphony Park Design Standards Manual related to design documents and provide for other related matters. Bill number 2010-28, in order to adopt the safety and seismic safety element of the Las Vegas 2020 Master Plan and provide for other matters. Bill number 2010-29, an ordinance to adopt the Historic Properties and Neighborhoods Preservation Plan element of the Las Vegas 2020 Master Plan and to provide for other related matters. Bill 2010-30, an ordinance to revise and update Chapter 14.17 of the Municipal Code relating to wastewater collection and treatment and provide for other related matters. And finally, Bill number 2010-31, an ordinance to update the regulations, an ordinance to update the regulations governing certain commercial, entertainment, and solicitation activities within the pedestrian mall and provide for other related matters.
All right, thank you very much. Councilman Barlow, will you be available on the 20th to review these?
I will be.
Thank you. And Councilman Anthony, will you be available on the 20th? Very good. Then I'm going to assign both Councilman Barlow and Councilman Anthony to the recommending committee. And we'll move on to, let me ask Ms. Fretwell, do we need closed session?
No, sir, we don't.
All right, then we're in recess until 1 o'clock.
Yeah, it's like a shower, no gel, gonna look.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. We'll call item 66. Any items from the afternoon session that the council, staff, and/or the applicant wish to be stricken or held in abeyance to a future meeting may be brought forward and acted upon at this time. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Your Honor, but I just had to look out there. I think I seen this long-haired hippie out there, blonde, that I recognize or something. I don't know. I didn't mention any names, sir. Item 83 is a site development review, 37363, applicant owner, Lead Foundation Trust at 3901 West Charleston Boulevard. Councilman Tarkanian would like that to be held in advance until our 10/6/2010 meeting. Item number 94 is a variance, 37831, applicant owner, Sandra Lippincott at 6791 Sierra Trail. Councilwoman Tarkanian would like that to be held in advance until our 8/18/2010 meeting. Item number 95 is a variance, 37837, applicant owner, Craig 95, LLC, 7075 West Craig Road. Has been withdrawn without prejudice by the applicant. Item number 98 is special use permit 37871, applicant Chronic Tacos, owner Trails Village Center Company, 1910 Village Center Circle, Suite 1 and 2. Councilman Tarkanian would like that to be held until our next meeting on July 21st. And item number 99 is special use permit 37892, applicant owner Pataka P. and Tacey Meyer Hira, 6640 Cheyenne Avenue. I apologize for mispronouncing those names. The applicant was to be held in advance until our July 21st, 2010 meeting. At this time, are there any other items we need to bring forward at this time? Hearing none, Your Honor, make a motion to bring these items forward, take the appropriate action, please.
Okay, let's vote on that, please. Host? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 67 is a public hearing on local improvement district for special improvement district number 1513, via Olivero Avenue and Valadez Street, east of Cimarron Road. This is in Ward 2. It's a public hearing, which I now declare open. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Lori Leonard Dunford, City of Las Vegas Public Works, Special Improvement District Office. This is a public hearing for Special Improvement District number 1513 along Via Olivero and Valadez Street. It was created about 18 months ago, and construction is now complete. We are ready to levy the assessments. The total amount of the improvements is $218,356.75. There are a total of 3 properties in the district, and it will be assessed over a 20-year period. The improvements included a 33-foot half-street pavement section, curb and gutter, 4- and 5-foot wide sidewalk, retaining wall, and residential driveways.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions? Folks, this is a public hearing. If anyone would like to be heard? Yes. Just come up here, please, and give us your name. We'd be happy to hear from you, sir. Yes. Yes, sir. Yes.
Bill Kelly, 8101 Urbana Drive.
Yes, sir.
The property adjoining the Via Olivera and the Valadez Streets.
All right, be happy to hear from you.
We didn't get a notice on this, although the city does say they certified sent a letter, but we didn't get it. We also contend there was no public notice put up about this beforehand. And the owner says that that assessment is way too high.
All right, thank you. I'd like to inquire about the notice. That's something that does disturb me. Do you have any response to the fact that the gentleman says there was no notice?
The only people that were actually notified by certified mail are the 3 property owners that are being assessed, and the notices were sent by certified mail by the clerk's office to the 3 property owners and using the addresses on file with the Clark County Assessor's Office.
So are you one of the property owners?
I represent the property owner.
I see. Did the property owner receive a notice?
He says no.
I don't know what to say then. Let's ask Mr. Jervik, what's the story here? The gentleman's representing to us that he didn't receive notice, even though it's been asserted that we sent a certified mail and got a return receipt, apparently.
I'm sorry?
All right, how
Yeah,
long would
because
that
I
take
agree.
to pull the file? Okay, fine. Why don't you have a seat, sir? I'll call this back. We'll see whether or not there was notice.
I mean, if I may, because this is in my ward. Mr. Kelly. Lori, would you be more comfortable having Mr. Cervantes down here to help you, or no?
No, it's fine. It also was published 3 times in the RJ and for the newspaper for the notice as
Okay,
well.
well, we'll find out. We'll set this over until we get an answer from the clerk's office on the notice question. Thank you. I'll make a note of that. All right, items 68 through 77 may be considered in one motion, one vote. They're considered routine, non-public, and public hearing items with no condition changes. Any person representing an application or a member of the public or a member of the council not in agreement with the conditions and all standard conditions for the application recommended by staff should request to have that item removed from this portion of the agenda. Does anybody want any of these items, 68 through 77, pulled?
Your Honor?
Yes.
Item 74, just to see if I could ask if the applicant is with us today.
All right. Is Robert or Mary Grace Amato here?
The applicant is here, Your Honor, so we'll pull this off of that.
All right, fine. I won't read 74 then. Any of the others? All right, we'll do all but 74. 68 is EOT. Did you want to be heard, sir?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Jeffrey Armstrong. I request that item number 77 be heard separately.
Okay, anybody else? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, item 68. He wants it to be heard separately, not one. All right, sir. Mayor Pro Tem would like to know why you would like to have it heard separately, sir.
Yes, Jeffrey Armstrong again. We're requesting that the item be approved for 2 years instead of 1 year as the staff is recommended.
All right, fine. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, item 68 is EOT 38379, extension of time. Site development plan review. The applicant is owner is the City of Las Vegas. Request for an extension of time of a previously approved site development plan review for a city park on 3.90 acres at the southeast corner of Marion Drive and Harris Avenue in Ward 3. 69 is SUP 37580, special use permit. The applicant is Walgreen. The owner is Wall Trust Properties, Inc. Request for special use permit for a 48 square foot accessory packaged liquor off sale within an existing 13,905 square foot retail establishment at 8500 West Cheyenne in Ward 4. This application has been amended to request 79 square feet for the accessory packaged liquor off sale use. 70 is SUP 37885, special use permit. The applicant is Vanguard Lounge LLC. The owner is A.W. Ham III Trust. Request for special use permit for proposed 2,597 square foot tavern limited establishment at 516 Fremont Street in Ward 5. 71 is SUP 37904, special use permit. The applicant is Forest City Commercial Development. The owner PQ Las Vegas LLC. Request for special use permit for 6 proposed satellite dishes that exceed 10 feet in diameter and 12 feet in height at 495 South Main Street in Ward 3. 72 is SUP 37922, special use permit. The applicant is American Education Group. The owner is Mary E. Bullard, Revocable Trust et al. Request for special use permit for a 10,600 square foot private school, primary at 2750 Lake Sahara Drive in Ward 2. Number 73 is SUP 37937, special use permit. The applicant is All Star Bail Bonds, Inc. The owner is LSHLP. Request for special use permit for a proposed 1,807 square foot bail bond service at 800 South 6th Street in Ward 3. 75 is SUP 38028, special use permit. The applicant is Luis Castillo. The owner is DI Properties, Inc. Request for special use permit for a proposed 4,488 square foot billiard parlor or pool hall at 3050 East Bonanza Road, at suite number 190 in Ward 3. 76 is SUP 38029, special use permit related to SUP 38028. The applicant Luis Castillo. The owner is DI Properties, Inc. Request for special use permit for a proposed 4,488 square foot beer wine cooler on sale establishment at 3050 East Bonanza Road, suite 190 in Ward 3. Those are the items. The staff recommends approval of items 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 75, and 76. They're all public hearings, which I now declare open. Would anyone like to be heard on any of those items that I just read? All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. May I have a motion to approve those items?
Yes, Your Honor, make a motion to approve those items with all conditions, please.
Thank you. Let's vote on that, please. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll call item 74, which is SUP 37939, special use permit. The applicant owner is Robert and Mary Grace Amato. Request for a special use permit for a proposed 600 square foot accessory structure, Class 1 at 6825 Emerald Tree Court in Ward 6. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We're looking for to put a casino in the backyard.
Okay. Councilor Ross?
He's good, Your Honor.
Okay.
I just really want to put him on the spot here.
I thought something like
No,
that.
I'm just giving you a hard time, Mr. Amato. I live in a great neighborhood. I see the plans for the building. Your intention, my concern and some concerns about residents nearby is turning it into a rental. You need to kind of share with the council what you want to do with that, if you would.
Oh, absolutely. My father-in-law recently passed, and my mother-in-law doesn't want to live alone. She can't go up and down stairs. It's going to be her place.
You're a good son. Now, should the property you ever sell the property, though, would you be willing to put on the record that would not be part of, not be a rental property?
Absolutely.
And Director, would that
If I may,
suffice?
Mayor and
Yes.
Councilman, that would be an added condition that the accessory structure may not be rented.
Very good.
You okay with that, Mr.
I'm fine with that.
Thank you. And you're a great guy. You live in a great neighborhood, drove by the house, so you're good to go. With that, Your Honor, I'm prepared to make a motion.
Very good. I thought the gentleman said he wanted to put a casino in his house.
Hey, I tried it too.
Very good. Okay, let's vote on that, please.
Agenda item number 74, Your Honor, I move to approve the
Thank you.
conditions as amended.
Opposed, please.
You gotta vote on it.
Oh, there you go.
You're on record now. You got your permit.
Motion carries. Okay, 77 is VAC 37884, vacation. The applicant is FC Vegas 39 LLC. The owner is FC Vegas 39 LLC et al. Petition to vacate the east 6 feet of public right-of-way, commonly known as First Street, and located between Clark Avenue and Bonneville Avenue in Ward 3. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Jeffrey Armstrong. As I stated before, we're requesting that the council consider granting approval for 2 years instead of the 1 year.
Who are you representing, please?
We are representing FC Vegas 20 LLC.
Thank you. That's one on the record. Margot?
If I may, Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem, the change would be to condition number 6 to just change 1 year to 2 years.
I would move to allow that change, please.
All right, that's the motion. Let's vote, please. Opposed? It's brutal. From now, I'm going to raise my hand. How much does this cost the city? About $5 billion a year? Not really. Want me to vote again? Okay. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. 68? That's wrong.
Should be 78.
78.
No, 68.
78, 79, 80, 81, and 82. 78 is MOD 30617. Request for major modification to the Lone Mountain West Plan to amend the land use designation from L, which is low density residential, and P, park, school, recreation, open space, to PF, public facilities on 5.07 acres, located approximately 660 feet east of the southwest corner of Cliff Shadows Parkway and 215 Beltway. 79 is ZON 31062. Request for rezoning from U, undeveloped, PCD, Planned Community Development General Plan designation, to PD, Planned Development on .08 acres at the southwest corner of Cliff Shadows Parkway and Novat Street. Number 80 is VAC 30622. Petition to vacate U.S. government patent easements generally located approximately 63 feet southwest of the intersection of Cliff Shadow Parkway and Novat Street. This is related to VAR 30620 and is no longer required, and VAR 31394 is replaced by VAR 37943. 81 is VAR 37943, request for variance to allow 119 parking spaces where 338 are required on 4.99 acres at the southwest corner of Cliff Shadows Parkway and 215 Beltway. 82 is SDR 37942, request for a site development plan review for a proposed two-story, 35-foot-high, 66,192 square foot church house of worship with waivers of the Lone Mountain West wall and landscape standards to allow retaining walls up to 16 feet in height and 0-foot landscape buffers along portions of the north, south, east, and west perimeters on 9.12 acres at the southwest corner of Cliff Shadows Parkway and 215 Beltway. The applicant owner for items 78 through 81 is International Church of Las Vegas, Inc. And for item 82, the applicant is International Church of Las Vegas, Inc., and the owner is International Church of Las Vegas, Inc. in USA. The Planning Commission and staff recommend approval of all items. These items are in Ward 4. They're public hearings, which I now declare open. Mr. Gronauer, are you representing the applicant?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Public hearing is open. Yes, sir.
Your Honor, members of the council, good afternoon. I'm Bob Gronauer, 8345 West Sunset Road. I'm here today representing the property owner and the applicant, which is the International Church of Las Vegas. Many of you may be familiar with this piece of property. This application actually has been in the system from about a year and a half in the system itself. This has been very controversial with the neighbors who live up in the Lone Mountain West area. We've had numerous of meetings. I've been involved with this project over the last 8 or 9 months. I'm happy to report to you today, as you can see by the chambers, it's not filled, that we have addressed many of the concerns of neighbors with the application that's before you, or the several applications. First and foremost, I do want to make sure and make clear for the record, one of the things that we initially had, we were proposing an 85-foot high structure on the property itself. We are today standing before you asking for 35 feet in height, which is 2 stories. We are proposing our facility to be developed in 2 separate phases. And again, with a numerous amount of meetings we've had with the neighbors, we did gather and gain their support. Staff is recommending approval of all of our applications. We appreciate working with staff diligently in your Public Works Department. As I said, it's taken a long time to get to where we are today. We're in agreement with all the with the conditions that have been approved already by this Planning Commission. And I believe Margot has a couple other conditions that we're going to be agreeing to that will be read into the record. And then finally, the last thing I need to make for a statement for the record is that we have been working with the Focus Property Group, who is the master developer in the Lone Mountain West Master Plan. And as a part of one of the requirements is all new developers are supposed to come in and pay for their fair share of off-site infrastructure. We're currently in negotiations with them, and those discussions are still currently ongoing. I just want to make that mention for the record. They're here just to make sure that we're all on the same page. That being said, again, this has been a long process. It doesn't look it from the amount of people that are here, but that's good news. And we're looking to begin construction within the next 2 years here for the new church in this area. I'm here to answer any questions.
Very good. Any questions of Mr. Gronauer? All right, thank you, folks. A public hearing, if anyone would like to be heard.
Thank you, Todd Farland, 249 North 19th Street. And I just want to say, I like the first design better. This is what we got.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anybody else?
Good afternoon, Your Honor, members of council. My name is Ron Portero, 7958 Lookout Rock Circle. I agree with Mr. McFarland on that first design, but you know what? We're real happy with what we've come to. And I would like to thank particularly Director Wheeler and her staff, Doug Rankin, Steve Gebicki, who have worked endless hours in helping us get through this. Somewhat contentious to begin with, but we've come full circle. And on behalf of Pastor Paul Goulet and the church, I can absolutely tell you that we're really happy with what we've come up with. We've worked hard, beginning with Councilman Brown, former Councilman Brown, and now Councilman Anthony's office, to get to this point. We believe we're going to have wonderful relationships with our neighbors. And as Mr. Gronauer pointed out, we think everything is ready to go. So just wanted to thank you for your hard work and all the time and effort that the council and staff has put into it today. And that's all I have to say.
Very good. Thank you.
Mayor Goodman, may I please?
Yes.
Mr. Portero, I think you forgot somebody. I think you forgot our interim commissioner, Mr. Steinman.
Yes. Yes, he was a champion. Well, two. Commissioner Steinman was a champion for us, and Commissioner Trowbridge were champions for us along the way. And they saw the balance necessary, and Commissioner Steinman particularly saw the balance necessary between the neighborhood concerns and what we were hoping to do. And you know, prior to Mr. Gronauer, I was in all of your offices working hard at trying to figure all this out. And so, yeah, I give a lot of credit to Councilman Steinman.
And I wanted to recognize Councilman Steinman on the record. And then the last thing is to congratulate everybody involved, because the expression I use is this is how good government works.
Yes.
Because I remember when this project came to us before Councilman Anthony was on the council, and the sides were in opposite. And to come together and for everybody to be happy and to have our council chambers empty, like you say, Mr. Gronauer, I think is a statement that parties working together came to a reasonable compromise, and so congratulations to everybody involved.
Thank you, Councilman, and thank you, Your Honor, and Council.
Anybody else like to be heard? All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilman Anthony.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Gronauer, when I came on the City Council a year ago, like you mentioned, this was a pretty controversial project, and I remember you coming into my office and you were representing the developers and basically told me that you were going to do the best you can to work with my office, the city staff, and the residents to turn this into a wonderful project that was not going to be controversial. And it's been a year, and you did your job. You did a great job. I appreciate you. I mean, you spent a lot of time with the residents out there. You had quite a few meetings. You spent a lot of time with our staff and my folks, and I commend you for what you did. You have a project here that I think is going to be an absolute jewel out there. It's going to be a beautiful church, and I appreciate what you did. So you lived up to your promise, and it's going to be a wonderful project in Ward 4. So with that said, I'll make a motion. You just want to do this one at a time, Mayor? Or?
One at a time, I'm advised.
Item number 78, my motion is to follow Planning Commission staff's recommendation for approval with all conditions.
Thank you. Let's vote on that, please. Opposed? Motion carries. 79, please.
My motion is to follow the Planning Commission and staff's recommendation for approval with all conditions.
Please vote. Opposed? You want to show a yes? No, I'm not voting again. Show a yes, please. Okay, I'm going to break this machine. Number 80, please.
My motion is to follow Planning Commission and staff's recommendation for approval with all conditions.
Okay, please vote. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 81, please.
Motion is to follow Planning Commission and staff's recommendation for approval with all conditions.
Thank you. Please vote. Opposed? Motion carries. 82, please.
Motion is to follow Planning Commission and staff's recommendation for approval with all conditions.
If I may, Mr. Mayor and Councilman, we have some adds to the site plan in item number 82.
Okay.
Lucian Pyatt from Public Works will handle the first condition change.
Okay, Mr. Pyatt.
And my apologies, it's a little lengthy. It's condition 23, which we did not consider phasing the improvements, and now we are, so this condition has to be changed. Again, please bear with me. It's condition 23, amended to say, if not already in place at the time of development of this site, construct all incomplete street improvements on Cliff Shadows Parkway and full street improvements on Desert Hope Drive concurrent with development. Desert Hope Drive improvements shall be built per the approved construction drawings for improvement plans for Desert Hope Drive Access Road, Reverence Village 26, modified as approved by the Department of Public Works. Required improvements on Desert Hope Drive may be phased in accordance with the submitted phasing plan as follows. Phase 1, construct the full width of the intersection of Desert Hope Drive and Cliff Shadows Parkway, including curb, gutter, sidewalk, bases, conduits, and poles for the future signalization of the Desert Hope Drive, Cliff Shadows Parkway intersection on both southwest and southeast quadrants concurrent with on-site development activities. construct permanent improvements, including curb, gutter, sidewalk, and asphalt paving on the west half of Desert Hope driveway from the intersection with Cliff Shadows Parkway, extending south to the first driveway into the proposed site, and including the northern curb return for the driveway. A minimum of 2 lanes of temporary asphalt roadway shall be constructed for at least half of Desert Hope Drive, extending southward a minimum of 150 feet from the intersection before transitioning to permanent pavement improvements on the west half. The developer shall work with the Traffic Engineering Division to ensure that the temporary improvements accommodate the proposed grade differences between east and west halves in an appropriate and safe manner. Phase 2, construct all remaining permanent improvements on the full width of Desert Hope Drive, removing and replacing all temporary improvements as needed, extending to the southern edge of this site concurrent with on-site development activities. Extend all required underground utilities such as electrical, telephone, etc., located within the public rights-of-way past the boundaries of this site prior to construction of hard surfacing, asphalt or concrete.
Mr. Gronauer, is that agreeable?
Agreeable.
Very
If
good.
I may, Mr. Mayor, I have 2 very short
All right, Mr.
condition
Miller.
additions. One addition, all landscaping on Desert Hope Drive from Cliff Shadows to Western Drive shall be completed per landscape plan submitted 5/4/10, and a minor site plan review shall be submitted to show how access to Phase 2 area shall be controlled and shall be approved by P&D staff.
Is that agreeable?
Yes, that's agreeable.
Very good. Okay, may I have a motion then? Or was that the motion?
Motion is to follow Planning Commission and staff's recommendation of approval with all conditions.
Thank you.
As amended?
As amended.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's vote, please. Post? Motion carries.
Thank you very much and have a good day.
Thank you. Councilor Barlow,
Yes, Mayor?
I owe you $1.60.
I know you do.
Your
Thank you,
Honor,
sir.
already-
I'll take it in pennies.
Say it again?
I'll take it in pennies.
Your Honor, we're ready on 67 if you want to recall it.
Okay, fine. All right, we'll go back to 67. Can't win a bet. I can't win a bet.
I told you.
Okay, 67 is a public hearing on local improvement district for Special Improvement District number 1513 via Olivero Avenue and Valadez Street, east of Cimarron Road in Ward 2. There was a question as to whether or not all of the property owners received the certified letters.
The certified mailings were received on June 10th, 2010, and it was a little difficult to make out the name that signed for it, but I believe it was Alicia Staff, S-T-A-F-F-E.
Does that help you at all, sir?
We do have an Alicia Steffel that works for us.
Apparently, it was received.
Well, she must have gotten it, yes.
Pardon me?
The girl must have gotten it. She works at our office.
Right, she must have gotten it and probably didn't advise you. All right, but at least the record's straight that we did send out the certified mail. Very good. All right, it's a public hearing, folks, if anyone wants to be heard. All right, we'll close the public hearing then. And Councilor Wilson.
Thank you. Lori, would you show a couple of pictures of this improvement? Because this is something that we started a long time ago, a few years ago at least. And I think it came to my attention because some of the neighbors in the surrounding areas were complaining about the unimproved parts of these streets and curbing. So I'm proud of the fact that we've accomplished these improvements. I'd like to show the public what we've done. If you could just briefly describe maybe what it looked like before, and these are the after-the-fact pictures.
Sure, I'd be happy to. We completed the half-street pavement on Via Olivero and Valadez Street, so all of this pavement here, 33-foot wide section, was completed, as well as the curb and gutter and sidewalk in this particular photo. As you move east along the corridor, when you get to the intersection of Via Olivero and Valadez, we also put in a retaining wall because of the grade differences that were out there, and completed the residential driveways in front of the existing gates.
And Lori, the actual cost of this SID came in lower than the initial bid, is that right?
That is correct. Our preliminary assessment was $319,107.50. We have received favorable bids in the last year or so, and so those favorable bids, the property owner realizes that at a savings of about $100,000. The final assessment is $218,356.75.
Mr. Kelly, I just wanted to point out to you that ironically, because of our recession, we're getting lower bids than what we'd normally get, and that's why the completion of this project actually came in, like Lori said, about $100,000 less than we originally anticipated, and that's a savings to your client of about $100,000.
Oh, I appreciate that.
All right, thank you very much, everyone. Item 84 is GPA 36593, General Plan Amendment. It's a public hearing. The applicant owner is City of Las Vegas. Request to adopt an updated historic properties preservation plan element and revise the 2020 master plan. Planning Commission and staff both recommend approval. This is a public hearing, which I now declare open. Ms. Wheeler, did you want to be heard on this?
Very briefly, Mayor, please. There's a name change to meet state law requirements. There is additional language specifically with regard to paleontological resources that is also in response to state law. We have added language with regard to the Upper Las Vegas Wash Urban National Park study, and we have also added revisions with regard to neighborhood conservation districts that are allowed by federal law and now will be allowed in the City of Las Vegas, and the entire document has updated info since the 2007 adoption. It has gone through the public hearing process, as you say, and we request a favorable action today.
Very good, thank you. Would anyone like to be heard on this?
Thank you. Todd Parla, 240 North 19th Street. Your Honor, if a person wanted to find this on the internet or whatever, is there a way to do this? Does the city publish this? Could you tell me how
Ms. Wheeler, could you please answer Mr. Farley's
If
question?
I went down to the library, right, and you got the computers.
Well, right. It's you go to the city site, you go to departments, you go to planning, you go to documents, you go to plans, and then you'll find it.
Thank you very much.
Very good. Anybody else? All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. May I have a motion, please?
Yes, Your Honor, move to follow staff's recommendation for approval of this item, please.
Thanks. Let's vote, please. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Items 85 through 89. 85 is GPA 37567. Request to amend a portion of the southeast sector plan of the general plan from L, low-density residential, to O, office. 86 is ZON 37568. Request for rezoning from R1, single-family residential, to PR, professional office and parking. 87 is VAR 37570. Request for variance to allow 4 parking spaces where 7 spaces are required. 88 is VAR 37976. Request for variance to allow a 4-foot setback from the west property line where residential adjacency standards require a 5-foot setback. And 89 is SDR 37569. Request for a site development plan review for the conversion of an existing 1,890 square foot residence to an office and waivers of perimeter landscape standards to allow 0-foot buffers along the south of these perimeters where 15 feet is required, and 0-foot buffers along the north and west perimeters where 8 feet is required. The applicant owner is Judith Pina. The project is located on .16 acres at 222 South Bruce Street. The Planning Commission and staff recommend denial of all items. These items are in Ward 3, and they're public hearings, which I now declare open. Are you representing the applicant, sir?
I am, sir.
Okay, please identify yourself.
Kelvin Haywood.
Be happy to hear from you, sir.
Your Honor, if I could,
Yes.
please. Mr. Hayward, if it would be possible for me to just ask you to allow us to table this item at this time. Staff, I met with staff a couple times on this item. At this time, the way it's being presented to the staff or the City Council today, I can't make a motion for approval of the item. what I'd like to do is just have you work with the planning commission, the planning department, and Mr. Rankin and Margot to see if we can't come up with some kind of conditions to help us make this work.
Yes, sir.
Right now, it don't work.
Yes, sir.
And so if we could just table it, then you can bring it back at a later date, and you work with the planning department, maybe we can come up with something that would work for everybody.
Absolutely. Certainly, we started to go in that direction, trying to add some landscaping to take some of these waivers off. So if you're okay with that, yeah, I'd love to go down, show them where we are with the redesign and what we can do to get this
Margot,
project.
does that work?
That would be Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem, that would be excellent. We'd be happy to work with them on this project.
That would be what I'd like to do, so this is a public hearing.
All right, it's a public hearing, but looks like it's going to
Thank
be
you, Todd Farlow, 240 North 19th Street. Councilman Reese, I'm going to be against this being converted from anything or residential, simply because we've got the school across the street, and I don't see how they can.
But if you have an office there, Todd, you wouldn't live across the street on Bruce Street.
I live right there.
Not on Bruce Street, you don't.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, one block away. I'm there. That's where I live.
No, you live on 19th Street, and you live off.
Right, and this is.
But you live off Stewart. You don't live on Bruce Street. I can't expect a family to raise 3 or 4 kids living on Bruce Street the way the traffic is on that street.
They have a playground right across the street.
I understand that, Mr. Farlow. I'm not going to argue with it, Todd. I appreciate it, but it's just not functional. I'd like to table this indefinitely to have the applicant work with the staff and see if we can't come up with some kind of a solution to make this project work.
Okay, let's vote, please. Opposed? Oh, boy. Just show me yes.
You're too quick.
Motion carries. I'm going to spit at the screen.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Item number 90 is ZON 37634, a rezoning, a public hearing. The applicant owner's Jalala LLC requests for a rezoning from R3, medium-density residential, to C2, general commercial, 1.23 acres at 630 South 11th Street. This is in Ward 3. The staff recommends denial. Planning Commission recommends approval. This is a public hearing, which is now open. Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is Fareed Jalal. I'm the owner of 637 South 11th Street.
Be happy to hear from you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I mean...
Did you want to address us, or...?
No.
No. Okay, fair enough. It's a public hearing, folks. Would anyone like to be heard? All right, we'll close the public hearing then. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, at this time, I like that. What are you proposing to put on this?
We have a security company we'll be using it as an office, and also we have want to use it as a retail. We're selling cameras, security cameras and stuff.
I'm not in favor of C2. Would you be willing to go to C1?
Yes, we discussed this last time. As long as we can do the retail store, I have no problem with C1.
That'd be fine. Your Honor, with the change to condition...
If I may, Mayor Pro Tem and Mayor?
Yes.
The Planning Commission recommended approval of C1. That condition is already here, so your action to approve would be to the C1 zoning.
And you agree to that?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. My motion, Your Honor, would be to approve this item with condition change to C1 instead of C2.
Okay, please vote. Opposed?
I was thinking of Todd.
Motion carries. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we're up to item 91. No, pardon me. 91 and 92 and 93. 91 is ZON 37852. Request for rezoning from R1 single-family residential to CV Civic. 92 is ZON 37853. Request for rezoning from R1 single-family residential to CV Civic. And 93 is ZON 37854. Request for rezoning from RE residential estates to CV Civic. The applicant is the City of Las Vegas and the owner is School Board of Trustees. Item 91 is located on 7.45 acres at 931 Franklin Avenue in Ward 3. Item 92 is located on 9.50 acres at 1200 Mallard in Ward 5. Item 93 is located on 36.28 acres at 4601 West Bonanza Road in Ward 5. The Planning Commission and staff recommend approval of all three items. These items are public hearings which are now declared open. Anybody from the school district here?
If I may, Mr. Mayor, the
Yes.
city is the applicant.
Okay.
We are updating our maps. All of these sites are school sites and will remain school sites. The general plan designation on all three of them is already CB, which is civic. And to make this change, to PF is the general plan, and to make this change to the CB zoning will make the general plan and the zoning compatible and will ensure that these remain school sites.
Very good. I thank you for that explanation. Anybody like to be heard at the public hearing? All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Mayor Pro Tem, do you have a motion on item number 91?
I move to follow staff recommendation for approval of this item.
Thank you. Let's vote, please. Post. Motion carries. Councilor Barlow, do you have a motion on item 92, please?
Yes, I would like to move to follow staff's recommendation for approval of this item subject to all conditions.
Thank you. Let's vote. Post. Motion carries. And Councilor Barlow on item 93, please.
Yes, and on item 93, I would like to also move to follow staff's recommendation for approval of this item subject to all conditions.
Very good. Please vote. Post. Motion carries. Thank you. Items 96 and 97. 96 is VAR 38096. Request for variance to allow no additional parking spaces where 10 additional spaces are required. 97 is SUP 37665. Request for special use permit to add a proposed 608 square foot massage bar establishment within an existing 2,450 square foot beauty salon with waivers to allow a 0-foot distance separation from a synagogue and a residential zone where 400 feet is required. The applicant is Rivi Salon, and the owner is Receivership Estate of Village Square Shopping Center, LLC. The project is located on 9410 West Sahara Avenue, Suite number 140. The staff recommends denial, and the Planning Commission recommends approval of both items. These items are in Ward 2. They're public hearings, which are now declared open. Yes, sir.
Yeah, my name is Ibrahim Mizrachi, and I'm representing Rivka Herskovich. She couldn't come today because her mother's in the hospital. But we do have a letter from the synagogue that they're supporting the waiver for the massage establishment.
Do you want to make that a matter of record? Do you have that with you? All right, if you'd be kind enough to hand that up to the clerk. Councilor Wilson, do you wish to see it? Thank you. Very good. We'll hand it back to the clerk and make it part of the record.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any questions of the gentleman? Folks, the public hearing, if you'd like to be heard. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Then Councilor Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor Goodman. Sir, I'm just kind of curious, because Village Square has been hurting in the recession with a lot of businesses going out of business and things like that. How long have you been in business at Village Square?
9 months now.
Okay. How are you doing?
We're doing okay.
Good.
We have 14 people working for us, so we have 14 new jobs, and with this the massage, we're going to have probably another 12, so that's going to help a little bit.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you. My motion on 96 is for approval consistent with staff's conditions.
Okay, very good. Let's vote, please. Post. Motion carries. And 97, please.
Same motion, consistent with staff's recommendations and conditions.
Okay, vote, please. Post.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Good luck to you, sir. Okay, we're up to right ahead. Wow, to 100. 100 is SUP 37905. Special use permit, a public hearing. The applicant is Ferguson Motel. The owner is Sonal Inc. Request for a special use permit for 22 residence hotel units within an existing 68-unit motel. at 1028 Fremont Street, and this is in Ward 5. The Planning Commission and staff both recommend approval. Subject to conditions, it's a public hearing which is now open. Gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and the council. My name is Chet Patel, 18460 Boxway, Henderson, and I represent Sonal Inc. for the business model. We concur with the Planning Commission and the staff recommendation.
All right, thank you, sir. Are there any questions of the gentleman? All right, folks, a public hearing, if anyone would like to be heard. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. This is Councilman Barlow.
Yes, Mayor. Just sitting here reading the backup. I would like to go ahead and move for approval of this item, but I would like an opportunity to speak with you if you have a moment to stick around for a second.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
My motion will be for approval of this item subject to all conditions.
Very good. Let's vote on that.
Thank you.
Opposed? Motion carries. Good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Good luck. Item 101 is SUP 37951, special use permit, a public hearing. The applicant is Savers Store TV1. The owner is WEC 97K-36 Investment Trust. Request for special use permit for a 29,950 square foot thrift shop at 8530 West Lakeview Boulevard in Ward 4. Planning Commission and staff recommend approval, subject to conditions. It's a public hearing which is now open. Yes, sir.
My name is Mitch Johnson. The address is 114 Southeast 6th Street, Bellevue, Washington. I represent Saver Store, and we're here requesting a special use permit to put a Saver Store in that location of a vacant drugstore. I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions of the gentleman? All right, folks, a public hearing if you'd like to be heard.
Thank you. Todd Farlow, 240 North 19th Street. At the Planning Commission meeting, some people were there and opposed it because they thought that Savers was going to degrade the neighborhood or is a low, I don't know. But my position is that I believe in recycling things, and I believe that Savers is an ideal way to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And one other thing. The Savers that they have in our neighborhood is spotless. I mean, it is really, really nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to be heard? We'll close the public hearing then. Councilman Anthony.
Thank you, Mayor. The one thing that's confusing about posting items like this is it's posted as a thrift store, and people kind of have a perception what a thrift store looks like. And Mr. Farrell was right. I went to the grand opening of the store at Sahara and Decatur. I mean, it's a beautiful store. It's immaculate. It's brand new. It's not what people think of as a thrift shop. So I don't know if there's a different way to post something like this so people understand what exactly that they're getting into. But it's a beautiful store. It's a vacant building right now. It's gonna be another retail store. You're gonna create jobs. I think it's a great project. So my motion is to follow Planning Commission and staff's recommendation for approval.
Thank you. Let's vote, please. Opposed? Motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you.
Item 102 is ROC 38247, review of condition. Public hearing. Applicant is 7-Eleven. The owner is 7785 North Durango LLC. Request for a review of condition to delete condition number 3 of a previously approved special use permit, which stated that the sale of individual containers of any size beer, wine, coolers, or screw-capped wine is prohibited. All such products shall remain in their original configurations as shipped by the manufacturer. Further, no repackaging of containers into groups smaller than the original shipping container size shall be permitted at 7785 North Durango Drive. This is in Ward 6. The staff recommends denial. It's a public hearing which is now open.
Good afternoon. Jennifer Lazovich, 8345 West Sunset Road, here today on behalf of the applicant. We are here specifically to talk about a review of the condition that you just read into the record. When this item was approved, there was some discussion about in the future perhaps revisiting this condition. The store opened in December of 2007, and as your staff report indicates, there's been no code enforcement violations or police activity at the site. A review of this condition would allow us to be on the same playing field with some other similarly situated convenience stores in the area. So we are asking for the condition to be amended to allow the sale of individual containers of beer, 24 ounces or less in size. With that, we would still be willing to agree to additional conditions that would be limitations in a sense, and if it's okay with the council or Councilman Ross, I could read those into the record however you would prefer to do this.
Why don't you read them into the record?
We would ask that the condition be deleted as we asked, and instead the revised conditions placed. The sale of individual 40-ounce containers of beer is prohibited. The sale of individual 24-ounce or less containers of beer is permitted. The sale of individual containers of wine coolers and screw cap wine is prohibited. All such products shall remain in their original configuration as shipped by the manufacturer. No repackaging of containers into groups smaller than the original shipping container size shall be permitted. And the maximum square footage for the sale of individual containers of beer shall not exceed 25 square feet. And the final condition would be that the special use permit shall be subject to a 6-month administrative review.
Thank you. Are there any questions of Ms. Lasevich? Folks, a public hearing, if you'd like to be heard. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilman Ross?
Thank you, Your Honor. Director, is that what you have in my notes?
Yes, sir, that's correct, Mayor and Councilman. The language with regard to the beer, the wine coolers, and the square footage, that would replace, let me read this in so we've got it exactly right. The new condition number 2 for this ROC will read that condition number 3 of SUP 21913 shall be deleted in its entirety and replaced with the language that the sale of individual 40-ounce containers of beer is prohibited, the sale of individual 24-ounce or less containers of beer is permitted, the sale of individual containers of wine coolers and screw cap wine is prohibited. All such products shall remain in their original configuration as shipped by the manufacturer. No repackaging of containers into groups smaller than the original shipping container size shall be permitted. The maximum square footage for the sale of individual containers of beer shall not exceed 25 square feet. And an additional condition would be that this special use permit 21913 and ROC 38247 shall be subject to a 6-month administrative review.
Thank you, Director. With your permission, Your Honor, Ms. Lasevich, thank you very much for working with me on this. And I want to point out for the council and for the folks at home watching this agenda item, I do acknowledge the 7 protests we did receive in regards to this. Also, Councilman Anthony, sometimes people misunderstand those notices, but this is for just that. There's a convenience store directly across the street from this location that is also allowed to sell these beverages in these sizes, and I think that they've been a good community partner right there. Every time I drive by there, people are at 7-Eleven. I would assume they're getting Slurpees and not beer and wine anyway. But this 7-Eleven has been operating without incidents since it opened in 2007, and this is the only store out of 165 stores that we haven't allowed them to sell these individually. So I appreciate you working with my staff and with the city staff to make this a reality, and hopefully they'll continue to do good business. I'm prepared to make a motion, Your Honor.
Please.
Agenda item 102, I'd like to move to approve the ROC subject to conditions as stated by our great planning director, Ms. Lasevich.
Okay, let's vote, please. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
You too. Item 103, Madam Clerk, would you please set the public hearing dates and appeals from the City Planning Commission meetings of dangerous buildings or nuisance litter abatements? Okay. 104 is citizens' participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the City Council. No subject may be acted upon by the City Council unless that subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, please come up to the mic, and we'd be happy to hear from you. We'll put the 3-minute timer on. Please identify yourself.
My name is Don DeHart, and I'm a resident of Clark County. Yesterday I was at Clark County Commission meeting, and I'm kind of going to repeat what I stated at that meeting. It's about jobs. Last Friday I was at the Boulevard Mall, and I have a many years in site locating across the United States. And I did market studies, and I would count people, count mailboxes. I could tell how many vacancies and drapes and things like that. And when I went through the Boulevard Mall, there's 5 people in Sears at 3 p.m. on last Friday. There was 3 people here and 2 people there in the other stores. I went through the entire mall. It's scary. This is not just down 10%, 15%. There's no customers at all in Boulevard Mall. I mean, relative to the square footage that they have. So the purpose that I really came down here is because back in the 60s and 70s, when I was a site locator nationally as well as statewide, and then I went to national, the developer I worked for was very wealthy, really wealthy. And he was doing so good with the accelerated depreciation. That's what it was all about. He wasn't in the building business. He was there to protect his $400 or $500 million that he already had. And so he would use this accelerated depreciation, and every time he sold one, he had to build 4 buildings to stay even. And so that when he sold those 4, he had to sell 4 for each one of those. So over a long many years, the tail was wagging the dog. So he had to go national. He said, Don, do you want to go national? I said, sure, I like to travel. I didn't realize it'd be that extensive. And so he got a replacement for me for the state and put me national, and I'd go all over the country. And the thing was that he was in the accelerated depreciation. What I'm trying to suggest here is that this is the only, like the television says on C-SPAN and everywhere else, spending will not get us out of any of this trouble. No matter how much you spend, it just creates public debt. So he said that it won't do it. You have to cut the spending. But I have one other solution that I think is a genuine solution, is if you can get Senator Reid to change IRS regulations on accelerated depreciation, have the developers, not so much the builders, developers where the big bucks is at, and say what it would take to get you off that chair back there in New York and come over here in Las Vegas, or to go anywhere, because anybody that does good in the country helps Las Vegas. Because as it's been said many times, we need the economy to be good everywhere in the country, not just here. So, but the purpose that I'm really here for is that I cannot believe that they can't change the accelerated depreciation, because he gets, like the builder I work for, if he made $150,000 and put one building up, that was covered. That was his tax shelter. But when he sold it, it took 4 buildings. And so this goes on and on and on. The tail wags the dog. So why can't you have your council talk to Senator Reid to talk to the politics of getting the IRS regulations changed? Example, the arena. That would fit in beautiful. Change not only, that doesn't just have to be for rental housing, but for the arena. It doesn't cost a penny to the government, doesn't cost a penny to the public. And there's a guy sitting back east or wherever he's at, he's got 400, 500, 600, 800 million, because that arena is going to take more than 700 million to build. But anyhow, the point is communication with the senator to see if we can get the accelerated depreciation. I don't care if it's 30%, 40%. He is not getting 1 penny from government.
Thank you very much, and thanks for coming down. We appreciate it. Yes, sir.
Well, top of the afternoon. How you doing, Honorable Mayor and City Council, other members of the staff, and Bessie, my God, you're really doing an excellent job.
You have to identify yourself for the record.
Oh, that's right. Oh, Calvin Futrell, the gentleman looking for your suit. One of the reasons I came down here today, June 14th, the park that's located right here on Las Vegas Boulevard, across the street from this Las Vegas Library, there was a kid that was kind of injured over there. And the reason is because some of the equipment, the dinosaur equipment, the head is broken off and the kid slid on it and it kind of hurt itself. And I've been asking for 2 years, and Councilman Barlow been doing what he can, but with the city budget being as is, it's kind of hard. But I watched this morning, seeing that some of the other parks is getting ready to get some work done on it, and I would like for you to at least take that equipment out and put some of the old equipment in there that's usable.
Well, what park are we talking about, Mr. Redmond? Is that the Heritage Park? Okay, the Heritage Park, okay.
Yeah, and see, that park is not only being used by some of the kids in the neighborhood, but it also being used by all the schools throughout Clark County when the kids go out and take their lunches or whatever. And that equipment is really bad over there. So,
All right, we should check that out.
if you could look into it,
We
you know.
appreciate that.
And the next thing I just want to say, you guys, I've been watching this city council and you, mayor, and the staff here. You guys are really earning your money this time. It is really rough on all of you guys. And I am myself, personally, I'm very proud to know that you guys are operating this city the way it is, because you guys are doing a magnificent job.
It's very nice of you. Thank you very much.
Okay. And one more thing, if I could, I don't know if I'm able to say this. If you want to cut me off, you can. But I have 17 kids that's going into middle school in my area now. And if I can get some old used computers, nothing new, just computers that someone really want to trash or whatever, that's still workable, I would love to have them to help these kids get a jump start on things.
That's very decent of you. We'll see what we can do.
All right. Thank you very much, and may the blessings be with you.
Thank you. Yes.
Could I ask them a question?
Yes.
Are those 17 attending the public schools?
Yes, they are.
If you go to the Public Education Foundation, they sometimes have available used computers and will help get them for students.
Well, I know I went to the Blind Center.
No, this is the Public Education Foundation.
Oh, I never.
799-1042, I believe. If you call 799-1042, and that would be Judy Steele, and ask her if there's a possibility the foundation can help.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
You know
And I
what,
think,
tell her the city council referred you to her.
all right. Well, I know I could depend on my
You can do that.
councilman,
Tell her
Mr.
that.
Ricky Barlow,
Yeah.
which is a gentleman and a scholar within himself. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
Thank
you very much. I feel so privileged today. Oh, and I forgot the marshals. These guys.
No, you didn't forget anybody. Yes, Mr. Harlow.
Thank you. Todd Barlow, 240 North 19th Street. I'd like to concur with that man just said. You guys are doing a good job. The other thing is, I'd like to dwell on that just a little bit more. I was down at First Friday there, and what what the city has been doing in that arts district and around that neighborhood, the redoing of the streets and that, I mean, where you've gone is just exceptional. It's beautiful down there. I mean, we've got a long ways to go. But I mean, what we've done so far, whoever laid that out and all that, I think Margot has a lot to do with that. Exceptional job down there. Thank you.
And we're going to have it even more exceptional. There will be the paintbrushes, which have been commissioned as part of our public art project. That's going to take place, I think, before the end of the summer, is it not? This month. This month. So you might want to check on that. That's going to be pretty special.
Thank you very much.
Okay, anybody else like to be heard? All right, then we'll close the citizens' participation, and we'll have council member recognition at this point. Is there any member of the council who wishes to speak under the portion of the agenda? Councilman Anthony.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to invite the residents of Ward 4, and for that matter, anybody, to attend coffee with the mayor and myself. It'll be this Friday, July 9th at 8:30 in the morning, 8:30 to 10, at the Omelet House at 2227 North Rampart, which is in the corner of Rampart and Lake Mead in the Smith Shopping Center. It's the Omelet House. It's a great restaurant, great breakfast food. The mayor and I will be there having breakfast, and I'd like to invite anybody to come down and chat with us and let us know what your concerns are and anything you want to talk to us about. So this Friday, the 9th, 8:30 to 10. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to be recognized? Yes, Councilor Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor Goodman. As I've shared with everybody before each meeting, I'm going to show you the picture of a child in southern Nevada that is missing and ask that you report to the authorities if you see this child or know anything of their whereabouts. This information is provided to me by Nevada Child Seekers and is also available on their website, which is www.nevadachildseekers.org. Today's young lady is 15 years old, and her picture is on the screen now. She's been missing since December of last year. She's a runaway and may be in the company of a 20-year-old Hispanic male named Alex Giovanni Garcia. Jessica is 5 foot 3 inches tall, weighs 125 pounds. She is also Hispanic and has dark brown hair and brown eyes. She was last seen on the 1700 block of Lamb Boulevard. And the reason I'm doing this is that the more people that see and hear about Jessica and the more people that are looking for her, the better chance we have of returning her safely to her family, because this is a real child that's missing from a real family. So if you know where Jessica is, please contact Nevada Child Seekers at 702-458-7009 or Las Vegas Metro Missing Persons Unit at 828-3111. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to be heard?
Yes, Mayor.
Councilman Barlow.
Thank you. I have the opportunity of teaming up with former NBA player Jerome Williams, and we will be doing a boot camp at the Doolittle Community Center at the corner of Lake Mead and J Street. That boot camp will take place July 12th through the 14th. Kids ages 10 to 12, ages 10 to 12. And we're looking forward to you bringing your young ones out to sign up for the boot camp. We're going to have a great time. A lot of NBA players will be there assisting us in this boot camp. And also, the C.J. Watson camp will take place the 15th through the 17th. And so you have an opportunity to attend that camp as well. But Jerome Williams and I will be doing the boot camp on July 12th through the 14th at Doolittle, first thing in the morning. And also on July 13th, we will be hosting a community meeting to discuss the expansion of the redevelopment agency. And that meeting also will take place at Doolittle at 6 p.m. on the 13th. And annually, I host the Ward 5 Summer Splash out at Doolittle July 17th, and that will begin from 12 noon to 4 p.m. And all of the kids in the community are invited to come out and hang out with myself and my staff and have a good time getting wet during these hot summer days. So thank you so very much. Please come on out and have a good time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilwoman.
could I just ask you, Ricky, is there a cost involved in the boot camp?
The boot camp, it's $60 per kid. However, we do scholarship approximately 15 to 20 of the kids. So
Does that go to leisure services then, the boot camp money? I mean, who gets the money? Well, it must go to leisure services or the city, right?
yes.
So it goes to the city. So
No. As far as the sponsorship, 15 to 20 of the kids will be sponsored for the boot camp.
Well, that's what I was
camp
wondering.
is $60.
Are they, for example, if somebody wanted to give a scholarship to a kid, do they give it to the city? Do they give it to leisure services?
The beneficiary will be the City of Las Vegas Leisure Services Department.
So they're operating the camp?
No, myself and Jerome Williams are operating the camp. However, kids from the City of Las Vegas will have an opportunity to be scholarshiped also for the camp.
Well, do the expenditures for the camp go through the city?
Yes.
I get asked these questions when I ask for things.
The expenditures do go through the city. That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
You're so welcome. So come on out. You going to come out, Councilwoman?
Basketball a few years ago, but I do try and go and see whenever I can.
That's good.
Particularly when you
love to have you
have
out there.
female basketball players. I really go out there.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Anybody else? Councilman Ross? Mayor Pro Tem?
I'm not coming to basketball camp either.
Maybe if I went, I could help you.
I'm sorry? Oh, okay.
Okay, well, all I have to say at this time is I want to thank the council. I want to thank the staff for really leading the league as far as changing the way governments do business in Southern Nevada. It hasn't been too long since we started this process, and the bottom line really is, to my understanding, not one other entity has had their employees make concessions, which include not only going flat, but also having rollbacks. And even though it didn't meet our goal which was designed to retain all of our employees and retain all of the services which we provide, it is the first step, I believe, towards changing the way people think about government compensation and a commitment by government employees to understand that they, too, work and live in the real world. And I want to thank first the Marshal Service, because they led the way with the initial commitment at a time when they weren't even obligated to negotiate with us. And I want to thank Fire and Rescue today, because they set up a standard that I believe other firefighters in the community should look at very carefully, because it is in the best interest of the people who live here, and that's the only reason that we're in the position that we are, and that is to serve those people. So with that, Betsy, thank you.
Mayor Goodman?
You hung tight, tough and tight.
I'm sorry, and I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I would like the council's indulgence just for a moment, because I wasn't here this morning when the council took a very important vote in my mind, so I'd just like to take a minute to express how I feel. I'm very pleased that this council voted to accept the new proposed contract. I think that it moves in the right direction for the creation of what we've coined the new city and the new employee. I'm going to echo what the mayor said about thanking the bargaining groups for recognizing that this is necessary and the right thing to do. And I couldn't be here to voice my thanks to the Firefighters Association, but I just wanted to commend them for working with us, because I think the alternative, which was going to arbitration, which would have been a very costly, very time-consuming, it would have hurt the morale of everybody, not just the firefighters and the folks that are out there, first responders, but all city employees and all the people that work so hard to make this the great city that we are. So although I wasn't able to vote this morning, I think it's pretty easy to see how I feel, so I just wanted to express that. Thanks.
Very good. Meeting is adjourned. Okay.